I was muted. What do you know? Let's start over from the top. Welcome, Raw Feed Warriors. Gary Franchi here, and today we're peeling back the curtain on stories so explosive they're literally rewriting history as we speak. And right now we're live on YouTube, streaming to millions worldwide, plus our freedom fighters on Rumble and X. So make sure you're following us on all platforms because big tech can't silence all of us at once. Now, before we dive into today's bombshells, and yes, they are some big bombshells, you're going to want to post your reactions. Yes, drop your super chats and Rumble rants right now, even before we start. We'll be featuring them on screen between segments for the whole world to see. You know, this is not just a show, it's a conversation, and that's what sets the Raw Feed apart. It's that we actually listen to what you have to say about these breaking developments. Now, if you want to support independent journalism that tells the truth they don't want you to hear, you can check out our donation links in the description, Give, Send, Go, or PayPal. Every dollar helps us fight the information war. Speaking of support, have you seen our new merch shop? Shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. We've got some new merch. Alligator Alcatraz, President Autopen designs, and our American Badass series. We're your favorite news source with pride, and trigger a liberal while you're at it. And for those ready to level up, join our YouTube channel memberships. You'll get special acknowledgement in the chat, exclusive access to the Next News team, behind-the-scenes content, and entry to our members-only 24/7 Discord. Each tier has its own perks, so hit the join button to become part of the inner circle. Now, on this day, July 14th, 1789, French revolutionaries stormed the Bastille prison, sparking a movement that would topple an entire regime. Today, 236 years later, we're witnessing our own revolutionary moment as the American people stormed the gates of truth, demanding answers about Autopen scandals, hidden pardons, and a government run by unelected bureaucrats. And just like those French patriots who discovered the Bastille was nearly empty, a symbol of tyranny with no substance, we're learning that Biden's presidency might have been nothing more than signatures from a machine, decisions made in darkness, and power wielded by shadows. So, patriots, right now, share the stream, text it to your friends, and bypass the algorithm completely. For our ex-viewers, repost this to your followers. We need maximum eyeballs on what we are about to unfold. So today's lineup is absolutely insane. Did you hear about this? Matt Gaetz mysteriously summoned to Washington, D.C. amid special prosecutor rumors while the Epstein files saga tears MAGA apart. The Autopen scandal exploded. Those Biden pardons, yes, they weren't even signed by him. A machine did it at 10:30 at night while he was sleeping. Everyone could be void, which means Fauci, Milley, and the J6 committee might be heading to court after all. The border crisis, now DEFCON 1, hitting this week. Chicago schools bankrupt from illegal immigrant costs. Hundreds of teachers fired. LA's mayor is handing out cash to illegals who won't work. Meanwhile, ICE just raided a trafficking operation, saved 14 kids, but Democrats are still calling it cruel. Jerome Powell's got Trump seeing red, the Fed chair burning through $2.5 billion on a building while crushing the economy with interest rates. Trump's calling him a moron, laying the groundwork to fire him. And the Federal Reserve's days of unchecked power might be numbered. And in classic Trump style, he just orchestrated a massive NATO weapons deal where Europe pays for everything while revealing secret strike plans on Iran that presidents have been too scared to execute for 22 years. Oh, and Obama, reportedly under a criminal investigation for spying on Trump's campaign. The grand jury is meeting. Indictments could drip any day. This is the Raw Feed, where we don't just report the news, we dissect it with you in real time. So buckle up, patriots. Today's show is going to be absolutely wild. Let's welcome you to it, though. First, we got Sabrina, Pothead Kenny, Crystal Fire Creations. We got Coyote J. We got Karen in the house. William Armstrong. Lisa's here. We got Robert and Sure You and Jeanette Johnson. Rocky Stallone is here. Carrie Knopf, Antonia Flores, Eileen Mary O'Malley, Lucy Luch. Who else? Tom B. 420, Script Master. No stimulus checks. Vitamiga Viga Jigan. CJ Pennsylvania in the house. We got Big Al. What's up, Big Al? We got the Salty Bean. What's up, Salty? We got Scon Tech and Todd Siegel and Lisa. Peters is in the house. Diana Howard. Where'd Gary go? I'm right here. Who else is in the house tonight? Come on, guys. Oh, Jeff dropping $2 in the jar right out the gate. Thank you for that super chat. Keeping it real. So did Tom B420. Smash the like and share the stream. Thanks, Gary N3 for life. We're going to put those cash dollars right there in the Alex Jones was right jar before we even get started. This is how we begin the show. And you guys are here. We got thousands of people tuning in on YouTube and on X and on Rumble. Rumble, only 92 people are watching. You can see the numbers on the screen. Those are real-time numbers, by the way. Isn't that wild? Yeah. Only 92 people. What's up? What's up, Rumble? Come on, Rumble. You guys can do better than that. All right. We got some news, so let's jump into it. This shit is on fire today. Ha-ha! What a freaking weekend! I'm watching the feeds all weekend. I'm going, holy cow. Monday's going to be a bomb. I'm ready for it, though. But we do have a trivia question. This is for all you guys who think you're so smart. Which special prosecutor's investigation led to the impeachment of President Clinton back in 1998? Was it A, Archibald Cox, B, Robert Mueller, C, Ken Starr, or D, Leon Jaworski? Who's Leon? I'm going with Ken Starr on that one. That's a name I'll never forget. I'm sure you guys are going to make your own choices in the poll, in the comments, or the chat. I can already see the numbers rising. 81% say Ken Starr, but we're going to find out real quick after this segment. So don't go anywhere because we're just getting started. Buckle up. Charlie Kirk's event over the weekend lost one of his headliners. Matt Gaetz yanked at the last minute. Reason? Well, apparently Trump wanted him in Washington. Like, immediately. The timing couldn't be more suspicious, just as the Epstein file controversy reaching nuclear levels, just as MAGA tears itself apart over transparency, just as calls for a special prosecutor hit fever pitch. Gaetz gets the call. George Papadopoulos says there's only one option. Tony Seruga wants total transparency. Even trial lawyer Robert Barnes laid out the playbook. Trace the money. No redactions. Trust no one except Gaetz. Is Trump about to drop the hammer? Is this the move that changes everything? Well, the swamp is panicking for a reason, so stay locked in, folks. Now, you probably think your 401k is safe, but it wasn't designed to make you wealthy. It was built to shift retirement costs and risks onto you, leaving your savings exposed to crashes, inflations, and chaos. But Americans are waking up and taking control of real assets like gold, and Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands secure their future by converting part of their 401k into a tax-advantaged gold IRA without penalties or headaches. It's safe, it's simple, and smart. Visit nextnewsgold.com to get your free wealth protection kit. Discover how to safeguard your savings. Open a qualified account today and receive 2 5-ounce silver America the Beautiful coins free. That's nextnewsgold.com. Your exit from the danger zone. That number on the screen, 877-646-5347. Write it down. Give him a call. Tell Colin Gary said, what's up? All right. So the dam is breaking everywhere. Check this out. This is from MSNBC just a few hours ago. MSNBC reports that there's real panic in the White House right now. A lot of people have gone quiet. A lot of people have gone dark, but they recognize that the MAGA turmoil over Trump's Epstein cover-up is not going away anytime soon. Watch.
Social media influencers like Benny Johnson, the like, who took to Twitter X over the weekend, really trashing President Trump, which we never see before, accusing him of hiding things, accusing him of not being honest about this list. And Trump's efforts to try to quell this storm, his Truth Social post, nearly 1,000 words over the weekend, did exactly the opposite. I mean, Truth Social, let's remember, this is a Donald Trump created and owned platform. This is the first time I've ever seen him be ratioed, meaning he got more comments, in this case, almost overwhelmingly negative comments, than he got likes and approval, stamps of approval for that post. There's real anger here. And his, as you noted, Joe, his post had so many, suggesting that there was no list, but yet it was written by the Democrats. He was talking out of both sides of his mouth. And I'm told, back to you guys here, there's some real panic in the White House right now. A lot of people have gone quiet. A lot of people have gone dark, but they recognize, those that are talking recognize right now, this is a problem. It's a first time they've had a problem like this, and they don't think it's going to go away anytime soon. But
it's not going to go away anytime soon. Now, check this out. This was one of the big stories over the weekend. Matt Gaetz right here, hustle bitch, writes, breaking, Matt Gaetz pulled from Charlie Kirk event summoned to D.C. by Trump. Gaetz won't be at the Student Action Summit today. Trump wants him in D.C. Now the question is he being tapped as a special prosecutor? I got this tweet sent to me a bunch of times. George Papadopoulos weighing in here. He says there can only be one option for special counsel to investigate the grand conspiracy to weaponize justice by the Democrats. That is Matt Gaetz. Trial lawyer Robert Barnes calls for a special counsel to handle Jeffrey Epstein files, lays out exactly how to do it. Gaetz would be excellent. Check this out.
Where would you look and what would you do?
So we know a good name for to be special counsel. I'm for, of course, Trump backing Pam Bondi and putting in a recess appointment as Attorney General. But this person could also be an excellent special counsel, and that would be Matt Gaetz. Because Matt Gaetz has a degree of independence, confidence, because you need somebody that people are, it's like Robert Kennedy on vaccines. If Robert Kennedy comes out and says this is going to be safe and effective, a lot more people are going to believe him than if anybody else is in that position. So you want somebody that when you hear, you say, okay, I trust their representation. But they need to disclose information, including trace the money. Well, where's all the bank and financial records? That has nothing to do with child pornography. That she's like, oh, we can't disclose anything. What, the bank records are child pornography? I don't think so. The photos of Bill Gates showing up on the island? That's not child pornography unless Bill's just an overgrown 6-year-old. So there's a ton of follow the money. That's where you start. Yeah. Follow the money, you'll unwind everything else when it comes.
Now, listen, you hear what he said? He said, follow the money. Follow the money. Follow the money. Show me the money. Right? Well. Who knows where the money is? Who was the guy counting all of the paper in Washington, D.C.? Who was the guy doing it? His name was Elon frickin' Musk. He was the head of Doge. He followed the money. He followed the paper trail. What do you think it led to? Probably some pretty frickin' dark places. Am I right? We broke that story. We broke that a couple days ago. Now you're hearing it everywhere because everybody knows we're right. Follow the money. Okay, Laura Trump, check this. It gets worse, though, folks. Laura Trump here. All right. Now, Laura Trump, obviously a member of the Trump family. You heard the report from MSNBC, panic in the White House. They realized that they effed up big time. All right, they dropped the frickin' ball. They send out their surrogates for months. Yeah, we got the list. We're going to give you the list. Here's the list. It's on my desk. Wait a minute, there is no list. So what do? They send out Laura Trump. Laura Trump. Laura, go on Benny Johnson's show right now. We need you. Go talk to all of Benny Johnson's friends and people who watch him. We needed to plug the dam immediately. Yeah, so they called Benny Johnson to do the dirty work. Watch.
And he hears all of the consternation out there, and I think he's going to want to set things right as well. So I believe that there will probably be more coming on this, and I believe anything that they are able to release that doesn't, damage any witnesses or anyone underage or anything like that. I believe they'll probably try to get out sooner rather than later because they hear it and they understand.
I don't know, man. Dude, just watching her body language, she's just. Oh, Laura, come on. I'm watching her body language. Her eyes are darting all over the place. Watch.
Or anyone underage or anything like that. I believe they'll probably try to get out sooner rather than later because they hear it and they understand it. So hopefully we'll see that happen sooner than later. And I guess that would be my advice. But to everybody out there who's all worked up about it, there's no great plot to keep this information away that I'm aware of. I do just believe that.
I don't think that you would be privy to that, ma'am, with all due respect.
Maybe it's been slow rolled for reasons that hopefully we understand down the line. And I think we're probably going to get more transparency on it.
Okay, so you're going to get more transparency. Well, how can we get more transparency? I got an idea. Let's let Ghislaine Maxwell go in front of Congress. Yeah, did you hear this? She said she would go in front of Congress. She's like, I will testify. I will go under oath. And I will spill the beans. Oh, and then what happens? Oh, shit. Ghislaine Maxwell, she says, is now being blocked by congressional Republicans after she said she's willing to reveal the Epstein client list. Uh-oh. Willing to reveal the client list, but being blocked by congressional Republicans. Wouldn't that be awkward? Could you imagine her sitting there in Congress? I swear under oath to what I'm about to testify to, so help me God. And she's looking in the face of her freaking clients right there. Can you imagine that? How awkward that would be? Oh, yeah, that guy was there. I remember when he did with her. Oh, that guy over there, he was too. Yeah, I got the goods on all you guys. No wonder they don't want her to testify. She knows how tiny all their dicks are. You follow me here? I don't mean to get all crass, but come on. This is what we're talking about. No, you can't testify. But then, of course, there's this theory. We've heard it before. I see it in the comments all the time. Chase Geyser says Epstein didn't die. Instead, he believes he's alive and under witness protection, and he suggests Bongino and Kash Patel may have been forced to support that specific narrative to protect the larger operation targeting the deep state. Yeah. You ever seen the movie My Blue Heaven? Yeah. Just think of that as like Jeffrey Epstein somewhere with a nose job. Okay, so here we go. We got more Roger Stone on the case. Who else? We told you the White House is panicking. Everyone's panicking because they dropped the frickin' ball so hard. So they call in Laura to go on Benny Johnson, plug the dam. She looks sus, as I can see. And then Roger Stone. Roger Stone goes on with another angle. The Clintons are in panic as he calls for Ghislaine to testify in Congress and reveal names.
She was, of course,
Is Ghislaine Maxwell in the seat of honor at the Clinton wedding? The only one. Bill Clinton has a sole daughter.
and the train stations looking.
Please unpack this relationship.
Well, she was, of course, Epstein's pimp. She was in charge of trolling the bus stations and the train stations looking for, children who had no parents or who were estranged from their parents. They're the easiest children to kidnap and traffic. She was making all the arrangements for him. I think she knew his business inside and out. She, again, by the Biden administration, she was charged with conspiracy to engage in child sex trafficking. But yet again, in her case, no other conspirators are identified. The U.S. attorney who handled the Epstein case and the Maxwell case and the P. Diddy case, another cover-up, all the same people. This is Damian Williams, the Democrat U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York, and Maureen Comey, who just happens to be the daughter of one of the great orchestrators of the Russian collusion hoax, who himself, I suspect, will be facing charges very shortly. James Comey, the former FBI director. So I would really love to see Maxwell testify. I think we would learn a lot. But what we learn is going to exonerate President Trump. I'm sick of this claim. Oh, Trump is in the files. I've seen the files. Yes, it's absolutely true. On one occasion, Donald Trump and his wife, Marla Maples, and his daughter, Tiffany, flew from New York City, actually Teterboro in New Jersey, to Palm Beach on a Friday and flew back on a Saturday. That proves what? We have the testimony, both written and in a 6-hour interview I did with Virginia Giuffre, who said that Trump was only in Epstein's home once, and that was for a public event, for a charity event, and he acted like a perfect gentleman.
There was some deposition material that was released approximately 1 year ago, 18 months ago, from some of the Epstein victims. And they were asked constantly about President Trump, and none of them even knew him or ever saw him. And this is available in the documents.
Okay, so yes, we know that Trump was on the jet one time, and that's not a secret. Roger Stone saying, I'd like to see the news that Epstein's pimp is ready to testify. I really like the news. Epstein's pimp is ready to testify before Congress. Bill and Hillary are going to be very embarrassed. She has nothing on Trump. Well, sadly, we're learning that she's been blocked by the Republicans. Check out this. Here's Ghislaine back in 2023.
No, he didn't. I don't believe he did. I believe that he was murdered. Well, shocked. And I wondered how it had happened. Because as far as I was concerned, I was sure he was going to appeal. And I was sure.
Yeah, so she was shocked when she heard the news. Maybe he's in the witness protection program. Maybe, maybe he did not do something to himself. Okay, she says she's prepared to testify before Congress and expose the truth, but it's not going to happen. Gaetz pulled from Charlie Kirk event summoned by Trump. George Papadopoulos, trial lawyer Robert Barnes, we did that. Fire Bondi, Gunter Eagleman. Recess appoint Matt Gaetz. Make D.C. tremble. I'd love to see that. Here is my buddy, J.R. Majewski. Please let the blonde, MAGA Patriot says, please let the blonde bimbo be gone. I'd love to have Matt Gaetz. I've heard Tom Fitton, even Alina Habba. She'd be great, but Bondi needs to go. If it's either her or Patel or Bongino, I'm with the FBI guys. Pack your bags, Pam. We don't need another Bill Barr in our midst. Let's listen to JR's take. I love this guy.
So now we have to figure. All right, if you haven't heard the news of the day, sounds like Pam Bondi is out as Attorney General. Big fallout today between Kash Patel and Dan Bongino and Pam Bondi. They supposedly turned in a letter of resignation. It's either them or her, and whatever. Sounds like Pam's out. So we shall see, but that's coming on good authority. So now we have to figure out who's going to be the AG. I've heard it's going to be Matt Gaetz. Yeah, Matt didn't show up to Turning Point tonight. He's been texting some friends, and we'll see. You might say, well, Matt can't pass the Senate confirmation. He doesn't need to. The Supreme Court ruled back in 2014 that you don't need Senate confirmation if Senate's in recess, and they go on recess in August. You don't think that Senate's gonna want to vote on whether or not Matt Gaetz comes or goes when they've got like some huge vacation plan now, do you? No, they got to go to those NGO vacation spots in Abu Dhabi and shit. They can't miss out on that.
Love it.
Oh man, Matt Gaetz. I love it. Love to see it.
I'd love to see it too. You know why? Because I was pissed. I was pissed when I heard him resign and leave his seat in Congress. And then he when he got the appointment to AG and he backed out of that, I'm like, come on, let's go. Then he goes on, One America? I think he's got a show there, One America News or something like that. And I'm like, come on, dude. You're going to be a talking head now? No, we need your voice. We need your backbone. We need your backbone in Congress. We need your backbone investigating these scumbags. So when I heard the news that Matt Gaetz was, heading back to D.C., I was rather excited. Come on, Matt, let's go. Come on. So this happened over at the Turning Point event over the weekend. Charlie Kirk asked the crowd, who do you guys prefer, Bongino or Bondi?
Bongino or Bondi?
He's
not
Who would you guys prefer?
Okay, yeah, let's go.
Reporting is Bongino. It's Bongino or Bondi. He's not
Who
saying.
would you guys prefer, Bongino or Bondi?
They
Okay,
want
7,000 to 0.
Dan. They want Dan. Of course, Dan. You know why? Because Dan understands MAGA. Dan's part of the MAGA movement. Dan's been an important piece and a mouthpiece for like really important ideas, and an advocate and a fierce warrior. He's been in the trenches. I mean, with all due respect to Pam Bondi, she's been in Florida. She represented the president. It's nice, but do you think she really gets MAGA? I don't think so. She wouldn't have behaved this way if she did. And now it's a time for choosing. It's a time for choosing. Reporting is Bongino.
A time for choosing, my friends. And who will be chosen among the faithful? Will it be Matt Gaetz? Let's check this out. Here is Jack Posobiec at the Turning Point event.
And I'm getting sick and tired of being lied to. I'm being sick and tired of all the lies. And by the way, I don't care if those lies are coming from someone with a D next to their name or someone with an R next to their name. I'm sick of the lies, and I'm calling you all out.
And then, of course, we find out the Republicans block Ghislaine Maxwell. What the hell is going on with that? Huh?
So I got a question. How many people in this room, raise your hand, you hear about January 6th? You guys remember January 6th, right? How many of you supported a January 6er through donations, through money, through tweets, through social media? How many of you stepped up to support January 6th? Let's see a show of hands. Incredible. Well, let me tell you something right now. I will not rest until we go full Jan 6 committee on the Jeffrey Epstein files and every single client that was associated with this thing has an FBI agent at their door on their phone going after them the same way they went after the Jan 6ers and the peaceful patriots and the praying grandmothers that were on those steps. That's how we should go after every single person that was in the Epstein client list.
Let's go. I'm all for it. I am all for it. Now, let's take a listen to what Alex had to say about 24 hours ago.
Years of saying, as you know, I just call balls and strikes. And after years of saying they will release the Epstein file or list, suddenly they're not going to, and we're told it doesn't exist. But then Trump comes out last night and says, well, it does exist, but the Democrats had control of it, manipulated it, which is actually true. They've had control, but they would destroy anything they didn't want in there and leave what they wanted in there that their investigators could plant. So people say, well, then whose side are you on? This is a giant fiasco. I'm trying to call balls and strikes. I'm trying to look at every angle of this and understand what's happening, understand why the Trump administration did a 180 the last few months, and particularly the last week, and did this, and then blames loyal supporters who support the overall agenda as being traitorous for doing this. Now, we all know what triggered this. It was Elon 2 months ago saying, look, Trump's in the list, and that big breakup there, and then Trump wants it closed. He wants it shut down, which looks extremely incriminating. But from all of my deep research, never saw Trump involved in any illegal activity with Jeffrey Epstein. So we are simply here tracking this case, not choosing a side, not wanting to make things be what we want them to be, but simply looking at the facts. But I dropped the ball. I didn't even think about the fact. I'm like, oh yeah, if they've had the list and they've had the files for years, the Democrats would take stuff out, destroy it. Well, that's obvious. But they would leave in and twist and put in what they wanted. They have a long history of false documents, reports, Crossfire Hurricane, the list goes on and on. January 6th. So we've got to investigate this. We've got to keep open minds about this on all angles. But this is the big story. And it is
the big story right now. Let's keep going. What do we have here? Fox News poll in Florida. Trump got ratioed on truth for the first time.
I think I agree with the president.
I do not agree with the president.
I do not agree with.
I actually do agree with the president.
Unfortunately, on this one, I don't think I agree with the president.
I kind of side with Bongino and Patel in this situation.
I do not agree with the president. I think that Pam has brought a secretive energy to the administration and that it is not a good look for the president at all.
As much as I like the president, I do think that that is a little bit of mistrust put into the people.
I think there's a lot of instances where the president should just keep his mouth closed and not give out.
So here's Donald Trump's post that was made 7/12/2025. What's going on with my boys? And in some cases, gals. They're all going after Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's doing a fantastic job. We're on one team, MAGA, and I don't like what's happening. We have a perfect administration, the talk of the world, and selfish people are trying to herd it all over a guy who never dies, Jeffrey Epstein. For years, it's Epstein over and over again. Why are we giving publicity to files written by Obama, Comey, Brennan, and the losers and criminals over the Biden administration who conned the world with the Russia hoax, 51 intelligence agents, laptop from hell, and more? They created the Epstein files just like they created the fake Hillary Clinton, Christopher Steele dossier that used on me, and now my so-called friends are playing right into their hands. Are we? No, we're not playing into their hands. Why didn't these radical left lunatics release the Epstein files? If there was anything in there that could have hurt the MAGA movement, why did they use it? They haven't even given up on the JFK or Martin Luther King files, no matter how much success we have, secrets on securing the border, deporting criminals, fixing the economy, energy dominance, safer world, it just keeps going on and on and on. On and on and on. He says, let Pam Bondi do her job. She's great. That's what she's looking at as AG and much more in the 2020 election. The hottest country anywhere in the world. Let's keep it that way and not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein. Nobody cares about. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Well, sorry, but people do want to pay attention to this matter. And we want answers. What is Russell Brand saying? What the hell is he wearing? You wearing a toga, like with no shirt on? Please, Russell, put a shirt on.
And that Mr. We went from, I've got thousands of hours of footage. I've seen Jeffrey Epstein. He was with Bert and Ernie out of Sesame Street. This pair of them was noshing him off. He had Elmo, who, I mean, I don't know how old Elmo is, but I've seen Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. They was tonguing Elmo. Right, they had Big Bird and the Snuffleupagus, and they was ramming him. Two, there ain't no files. We ain't seen nothing. There's no list. I don't know. Can you tell me how to get to Epstein Island? Well, we ain't got no list, motherfucker. Now I'm going to tell you. We went from...
We ain't got no list. Okay, what's this? Naftali Bennett, as a former Israeli prime minister with the Mossad, having reported directly to me, I say with 100% certainty, the accusation of Jeffrey Epstein somehow worked for Israel, the Mossad, running a blackmail ring is categorically and totally false. As a former prime minister with the Mossad, that's what I would. That's exactly the post I would expect him to write. Yeah, please. Sophie Rain thread breaking: the Epstein investigation repercussions sparking alarm in the Trump administration. Officials worry the issue will persist, further splitting their supporters. MAGA is now burning MAGA hats after Trump and Epstein response today. Trump asked, "Okay, what's this? Go on."
Officials inside the White House are very frustrated because they feel like this news cycle is only getting worse for them. It is not from people that they can easily dismiss or say it's the media or Democrats. It is their own base that is so furious and so angry over how they've handled this. And the question is how they get out of it, and it could result in the departure of the deputy FBI director over this.
Deputy? Oh, yeah, he is. Yeah. Bongino's
grossly incompetent. What good does it?
Okay, here's Trump. Here's Trump.
I have learned so much about the news. I so admire honest reporting. There's not that much of it, though. We really don't have that much. And I think to make America great again, you need at least... we have to get a bigger percentage than we have. And nobody understands why. Why would somebody make up stories to make Biden look good when the man was grossly incompetent? What good does it do? I mean, other than lose credibility, they're down at the lowest number for credibility that they've ever had. They're way below Congress, which is very interesting. I have learned...
Here's look at what? MAGA hats being burned now?
Hats are off. America First hats are on.
Now, okay, let's just be very clear. Anyone could just go buy MAGA hats and set them on fire and just make a claim. So I don't know if this is a true MAGA supporter or not, if this is a representation of the entire movement or just a faction of people pissed who are just expressing themselves with lighter fluid and a Bic lighter.
Burn, baby, burn.
Ouch. Yeah, that's painful to watch, but, there's a lot of people in the movement right now who are very, very pissed. What's
Mr. President, the LA reporter asked you about...
Here's more from Trump. Axios on HBO.
Ghislaine Maxwell. You said, quote, I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, but I wish her well, whatever it is. Mr. President, Ghislaine Maxwell has been arrested on allegations of child sex trafficking. Why would you wish such a person well?
I don't know that, but I do know that...
She has. She's been arrested for that.
Her
you know that.
Friend or boyfriend...
Epstein.
...was either killed or committed suicide in jail. She's now in jail.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I wish her well. I'd wish you well. I'd wish a lot of people well. Good luck. Let them prove somebody was guilty. I mean, do you know that
so you're saying you hope she doesn't die in jail? Is that what you mean by wish her well?
Her boyfriend died in jail, and people are still trying to figure out, how did it happen? Suicide? Was he killed? And I do wish her well. I'm not looking for anything bad for her. I'm not looking bad for anybody. And
yeah, so, I mean, wish her well is not a statement of okay, anyway. Here we have more 22 hours ago, Steve Bannon joins Alex Jones and other patriots on calling President Trump to reveal all the Epstein files to the public and restore trust with the American people. Now, as you recall, Steve Bannon was claimed to be in the Epstein files by Elon Musk, a fact that we're still trying to get to the bottom of. But let's listen in here.
This Steve Bannon came out last night and said that Trump has to release everything. And Bannon went on to say that if this scandal continues, and I totally agree, that they could lose 40 seats in the House of Representatives, the midterms, in less than a year and a half. This is taking defeat from the jaws of victory here. This is a self-inflicted one. This is like watching Trump cut his fingers off or something. This is just not fun. And I need Trump to succeed. The Democrats want to put me in prison. They are openly destroying the country. Trump on his economic policies is so much, tax cuts for working class, trying to stop the wars, controlling the border, upscaling Border Patrol and enforcement, and all the lies he goes through. I've chewed the same dirt. I've crawled in the same political foxholes as Trump. My God. It like I said a week ago, tears my guts out.
Yeah, Alex is pretty sick over this whole thing. Here we have Michael Wolff says Epstein showed him about a dozen salacious photos of Trump and Epstein with topless girls underage. Photos were apparently kept at Epstein's home in New York City that was searched by the FBI. Michael Wolff says he's seen pictures of Trump with girls.
And I know that these pictures exist. 2 of them with topless girls of an uncertain age sitting on Trump's lap. I remember Steve Bannon said to me, if there were ever photographs, and this was specifically related to Russian investigation, Trump would merely say, "That's not me. That's somebody else."
Fake news.
And I think that is probably true. Why?
Well, if those pictures exist, how come we haven't seen them yet? Seems like it'd be pretty damning photography that Democrats would love to just put out and end Trump once and for all. 24 hours ago, General Mike Flynn tagging Donald Trump. He says, Donald Trump, please understand the Epstein affair is not going away. If the administration doesn't address the massive number of unanswered questions about Epstein, especially the abuse of children by elites, it's very clear that abuse occurred. Then moving forward, on so many other monumental challenges our nation is facing, becomes much harder. Trust was deeply violated by both Biden and Barack. That administration must be above reproach. Here we have more. Republican Mike Lawler says it's time to move on from Jeffrey Epstein and his crimes, though.
He's dead and buried.
Over the weekend, President Trump said that the allegations in the Jeffrey Epstein files were at least partly fabrications from Democrats, which is why they should not be released. But there are a lot of people in his movement, like Steve Bannon, who say no dice. They want a special counsel. They want everything to come out. What should happen in this Jeffrey Epstein morass?
Listen, I'm probably not the person to ask because I don't speak in conspiracy theory, but at the end of the day, there's a lot bigger issues facing this country than Jeffrey Epstein. The guy is dead and buried. Let's move on.
Yeah, just move on. Nothing to see here, right? President. Yeah, but those people who partook in the activities alongside him, they are not dead and buried. Here we have Stephen Hassan, Ph.D. 48 hours ago, the mega machine pushed the Epstein file conspiracy as proof of elite corruption until the facts started to point back Trump. Oh, is that right? Oh, here we have this guy here. Trump and Epstein had a long, disturbing history. Okay, sure. What is this? I'm not sure. Let's see. What is this? This is, I'm going to read the community note first. This is an old episode of Dan Bongino, so let's not rehash that. Here's another. Okay, so we have a lot of claims here from the left claiming that Trump was with little girls, flew on the jet 7 times. Okay, here we have more. Tony Seruga appointed special prosecutor Matt Gaetz to investigate without any guardrails. Tucker Carlson. Let's hear this. Tucker Carlson says Bongino got shafted.
And someone who respects him.
Well, as we're recording this, Dan Bongino is threatening to resign if Pam Bondi does not resign as AG. What does that tell us, in your opinion?
Well, it tells us that Dan Bongino Shafted, completely shafted. And I'm saying this as a friend of his and someone who respects and likes him, but also just as an observer, an informed observer of it. So Pam Bondi, who's, by the way, I don't hate Pam Bondi. She's a totally nice person. If she was here, you would enjoy, I don't know if you know her, but she's a very nice person. I'm not against Pam Bondi in the slightest. But the fact is, she got on television on Fox News and started saying stuff like, I've got the client list on my desk. And actually, no, you don't. And I've got thousands of videos of Epstein having sex with kids. Well, actually, no, you don't. Most of the material was commercial porn taken off his computer. Like, that's just not true. Why did she say that? Probably because she's insecure and she's trying to please the audience, I would expect.
Do you think Dan is upset because his integrity is being questioned now over her mistakes?
Oh, my gosh. So you're Dan and you're a media figure and you've got one of the biggest podcasts in the country and you're making tons of money and you're having a great time.
Bingo. Bingo. Dan sees the posts. He sees the social media. He sees the pressure. He's like, man, my entire reputation is being thrown in the shitter.
Which he was. You just built this brand new studio in Florida. You work with your wife, who you really like, which she does. And you get the call saying you'd be deputy FBI director. And you're like, I love Donald Trump. I love this country. I will, cut my pay by, into a tenth of what it was. And I will leave my house and move to D.C., which is a kind of prison sentence itself. And I will do this because I love the president. I love the country. And you're there a few months. And all of a sudden, everybody thinks you're covering up Epstein's crimes. And it kind of wrecks Dan's career. Like, he can't go back. It's going to be very hard at this point. I mean, things may change. But as of today, pretty hard for Dan to go back to his podcast audience and be like, I'm telling you the truth, when they all think that he's covering up for Epstein. Who did that? Bondi did that. And I don't know that she did it on purpose. I'm assuming not. I don't think she's a mean person. I've never gotten that sense. But for whatever reason, she went out there and said things that were not true, that she could not back up. And then they issued this memo thinking that it would clear everything up.
That was embarrassing.
And I guess they're just so dumb, they didn't realize that if you tell everybody you have the tapes of these crimes and then you issue a memo saying you're not going to prosecute anybody for the crimes, what are you saying? I'm covering up for the perpetrators of these crimes. Duh. They have no one with an IQ over 80 over there to read the memos? Are you kidding? I'm not exactly sure how that happened, but I do know that it leaves a guy like Dan in a horrible position.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Here's Megyn Kelly going off on Pam Bondi.
Things he's focused on. I just don't think this has captured his attention quite yet. But it needs to, because it's starting to create a real hornet's nest within the administration. And I've got to be honest, I blame Bondi. I'll tell you why, okay? I have nothing, yes, incompetence, yes. I have nothing against Pam Bondi as a human being. I was fine with her nomination and her confirmation, and she's been loyal to the president, and I get that President Trump needs a loyal attorney general. Look what happened with Sessions the first time. He went away, and then the next thing you know, we had the Mueller investigation, and it was a nightmare. But there are a lot of other people who can be loyal and competent in that job. Here, she is the reason that things are unraveling around this story right now that virtually all of the Republican Party cares deeply about. It's also true that Dan Bongino and Kash Patel had questions about Epstein before they took office, okay, before they went into the FBI. But once they joined the FBI, they said nothing. They kept their mouths shut about Epstein. You have not seen them, except for one joint appearance with Dan and Kash on Fox, running all over the media looking for attention on this, yes, clickbaity story. Who have you seen? Pam Bondi. She has never missed an opportunity to go on television and dangle sweet nothings that might be coming your way. Try to lead you to believe that she's got it, it's on her desk, it's coming tomorrow, you're going to see something on Epstein. And it was a tease. So you either believe that Pam Bondi was telling the truth then, or that she's telling the truth now. But both cannot be true. She was either lying when she went on Fox News those times saying, I've got it, we're looking at it, wait until you see it, it's horrible. Or she's lying in her 2-page memo that they released on a Sunday night at the tail end of a holiday weekend to Axios, as if Axios is where we all go for our news. Hell no. She went to someone she knew would not kick the tires on the story, and without signing the memo, dropped it in the dead of night and said, that's it, take the crumbs and be happy. Refused to come out and give a presser. Come out and give a press conference, stand 6 hours to the point where people are dying of boredom. They've asked all their questions. That's how you put a scandal to rest. But she wouldn't even sign her name to it. And I'm telling you, I have dollars to donuts. It's going to come out that there was internal consternation over that memo. And who's...
Yeah, it's all coming to a head. Here we have Mike. Let's go to this. Let's go to Roger Stone. Roger Stone, the solution. Here is the solution that he proposes for President Trump.
Case. The solution to this issue, because I too favor full disclosure, and I want to know everything about this case, is for President Trump to direct his Attorney General, to direct the interim U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York to move to unseal all of the jury testimony that was presented when the Trump administration charged Jeffrey Epstein with child sex trafficking and conspiracy to conduct child sex trafficking. And while they're at it, they should unseal the search warrants for his island as well as his palatial home in Manhattan, which are sealed at the request or the motion of Prosecutor Maureen Comey. Everything you want to know is in those documents. It is the Trump administration, not the Biden administration, certainly not the Obama administration, that moved in federal court to bring Jeffrey Epstein to justice.
Roger Stone is on point as usual. Here is Rob Schneider urging Republicans to wake up.
Must be wrong. We've all encountered those leftists with Trump derangement syndrome, those who think anything Trump does must be wrong. But certainly, if someone is claiming that Trump's decisions are never wrong and must be carried out exactly, isn't that just another form of Trump derangement syndrome? So, in that spirit of humility and free speech, I ask these questions.
Wow.
Release all the Epstein files, no matter the consequences. This is America. We'll deal with whatever happens. Now, we have to also ask ourselves something else. Why are we so obsessed with Jeffrey Epstein while 300,000 children have been trafficked in America and are still missing? Why, another question, why is America still sending arms to Ukraine? I have and will always support Israel. Israel's different because if Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran had the capability on October 7th, 2023, on October 7th, if they had that capability of just continuing the attack and murdering every man, woman, and child, they would have done that. Israel is a free country, and Israel is a country that we must always stand by. But
and what if they had the Epstein files? Okay. Loomer joining for calls to a special counsel for the Epstein files. Here is this. Andrew Kaczynski. I had not seen this Fox News extended interview with Trump from 24, where they deliberately edited his Epstein answer where he won't commit to releasing the full files because of phony stuff in it. What?
Files.
Yeah.
The FBI, all those institutions.
You're right.
Some people think that one way to build trust is to declassify things that everyone's talking about. I know you talked earlier about, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. So if you were president, would you declassify, you can answer yes or no to these. Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you,
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know it. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would. At least.
Do you think that would restore trust? help restore trust?
Yeah, I don't know about Epstein so much as I do the others. Certainly about the way he died. It would be interesting to find out what happened there, because that was a weird situation and cameras didn't happen to be working, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I'd go.
Wow, I never seen that either. So I think we basically run the gamut here of everything. What do we have here? Here's Tucker Carlson.
The real answer, what the hell is this? You have the former Israeli prime minister living in your house. The real answer is Jeffrey Epstein was working on behalf of intel services, probably not American. It's extremely obvious to anyone who watches that this guy had direct connections to a foreign government. Now, no one's allowed to say that that foreign government is Israel because we have been somehow cowed into thinking that that's naughty. There is nothing wrong with saying that. Criticizing the behavior of a government agency does not make you a hater. It makes you a free person. It makes you a citizen. You're allowed to do that because you're not a slave, you're a citizen. And you have a right to expect that your government will not act against your interests, and you have a right to demand that foreign governments not be allowed to act against your interests.
And I think we'll leave it right there. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is not just Twitter speculation anymore. When Trump personally pulls his top attack dog from major events, when establishment Republicans start calling for special prosecutors, when even Morning Joe is running clips demanding transparency, you know the dam is about to break. The Epstein files aren't just about a list. They're about a system of control and blackmail and corruption that's infected our government for decades. And now Trump has to choose. Protect the establishment that tried to destroy him, or unleash Matt Gaetz to burn it all down. The MAGA base is watching, and they're done with excuses. They want justice. And if these rumors are true, if Gaetz walks into the DOJ with prosecutorial powers, we're not just getting names, we're getting indictments. So here's my question for you guys. Should Trump give Gaetz unlimited power to investigate everyone on the Epstein list, even if it destroys full institutions and careers? Will this solve the problem of their botched rollout of this list that doesn't exist? Yes or no? And don't forget to check out our merch shop, link below. Show the world that you are not afraid of the truth and trigger a liberal. We got Alligator Alcatraz, MAGA Avengers, President Autopen, our new American Badass section. Check it out at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. All right. Wow, we closed out 45 minutes and 45 seconds long. Don't go anywhere because we've got another amazing bombshell that's about to drop. Okay, don't click away. Maybe, go out, get that coffee filled, take a little pee-pee break or something like that. Do what you got to do, because I'll give you a second through this next question. This is the answer to our last question, our next question, and the super chat. So you got a second. Take a little break. Okay, so we've got Irving is back, dropping $20. He says, out of time. There must be a Back to the Future reference, I'm sure, as I do have a DeLorean time machine on my desk here. It's my favorite movie. Anyway, thank you, Irving, for that. We got Jody Dolce? Jody LaDolce? Let's do it. Jack P. They should know MAGA can't be manipulated like the liberals, and we don't back down. $4.99 for that remark. Keep the super chats burning hot. We've got Irving back. He says he just became a member. Welcome back, Irving, to the membership club. We got Alex Galagos dropping $4.99. Trump has remained consistent about his love for America for decades, has a plan to leverage this Epstein information. Let him do his job. So he's just going to use the blackmail list to his advantage? How about just overall America's advantage? Can we just do that? Thank you for that, Alex. Thank you for your 2 cents. Actually, your $5. All right, let's go to our multiple choice answer. The answer was, in fact, Ken Starr. You guys Congratulations. You got it right. Ken Starr. It was his investigation expanded from Whitewater to include the Lewinsky scandal, showing how special prosecutors can uncover unexpected crimes. Moving to our next topic, our multiple choice question: which constitutional clause specifically requires the president to personally sign bills into law? Is it A, Article 1, Section 7, Article 2, Section 3, or C, no clause requires personal signature, or D, the 25th Amendment? Well, given what I know so far, based on this investigation, I think, personal signature or Autopen signature, like define that. I'm just gonna go with C, because the Autopen is what, in fact, created this problem in the first place. Okay, our boy dropping $10. Get Blondie out and open the floodgates. Well said, sir. Well said. Thank you for that $10. We're at $56.83. Did you get your juice filled? Did you get your coffee filled? What, Brian? And did you get all your stuff refilled? Did you go to the PP break? I hope you did. All right, let's get to our next topic of the day. We're going to fire this one up. Yeah, what's going on with the Autopen? Well, sheesh, it is all breaking down right now. Topic 2, where are we? Here we go. All right. Where do we begin? I guess we'll begin right here with the president's own words. But this is huge. And go. The New York Times just dropped a bomb they didn't mean to drop. Those controversial pardons Biden issued on his way out, Fauci, Milley, the J6 committee, he never even signed them. An Autopen did at 10:30 p.m., directed by his chief of staff. Well, Biden slept. Every signature identical, every document rubber stamped by unelected staff members. Trump calls it the biggest scandal in 100 years. Legal after saying these pardons might be completely void, no protection, no immunity, nothing. So think about what this means. If Biden didn't sign these pardons, what else didn't he sign? Executive orders, emergency declarations. Who's been running the country? And more importantly, who's about to face justice for their without their get out of jail free card? Keep watching. While Biden's staff wield presidential power with a rubber stamp, smart parents are teaching their kids how government really works. The Tuttle Twins magazine explains what schools won't, how the Constitution limits power, why checks and balances matter, and what happens when unelected bureaucrats run the show. Their stories about separation of powers and presidential authority, they hit different when Autopen scandals prove the system is broken. Kids learn through engaging comics why the founding fathers feared concentrated power and personal accountability. Subscribe for just $56 a year. That's nothing. Go to TuttleTwins.next, TuttleTwins.com/next. It's linked below. Teach your children to recognize tyranny before it's too late to stop it. Okay. The Autopen scandal is erupting, friends. It is not going away. New York Times dropping a bombshell over the weekend. President Trump in the Oval Office a few hours ago had this to say about the Autopen scandal.
And I doubt he knew.
Thank you, Mr. President. On a separate topic here, President Biden, of all people, spoke to the New York Times over the weekend. He did not speak to them on the record during his time in office at all, but he spoke to them recently. And he defended his use of the Autopen and said that he signed off on every decision. But at the same time, the Times reports that he did not individually approve each name for the categorical pardons that applied to large numbers of people. What are your take on that? Any new revelations from that?
Well, I mean, you're talking about the Autopen. Look, the Autopen, I think, is maybe one of the biggest scandals that we've had in 50 to 100 years. This is a tremendous scandal. And I know the people on the other side of the, see that desk, that Resolute desk? Unfortunately, he used it before me. But, you know, we have our choice of 7 desks. They're all beautiful. But I chose the Resolute, and so did he, unfortunately. But the people on the other side of the Resolute desk, I know them. Lisa, the whole group, and they're no good. They're sick people. And I guarantee he knew nothing about what he was signing. I guarantee it. So they're going to figure it out, and we'll see what happens. But to me, the Autopen, you elected president. You know what the Autopen is supposed to do? Sign thousands of letters from young people that write. We get thousands of letters a week, Susie, right? Thousands. I mean, tens of thousands sometimes. I look at a room, there's a room where we have many, many people working, responding and sending letters back. That's what an Autopen's supposed to be. To write to a young 7-year-old boy that writes to the president, and he wants to be president someday, and he loves America. That's what the Autopen's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be for signing major legislation and all of the things. No, the Autopen, and I doubt he knew. I doubt they even spoke to him about it. I think they had, it's called the freewheeling Autopen. Like, Biden was never for open borders. Biden was...
Thank you, Mr. President.
So there you have it, President Trump explaining the use of the Autopen itself. And here's a video. Donald Trump signing EOs on the right. Joe Biden signing EOs on the left. Look at that. And, of course, we have this animation that clearly shows, you've probably seen this 100 times already. Every outlet's played it, but it's clearly showing the different pardons that were signed by Joe Biden and how these signatures all look identical, absolutely identical. Now, the Autopen scandal is the biggest. I think now here. Okay, this is the guy. This is the guy. This is Mr. Autopen, Jeff Zients, apparently. His official 2023 portrait. Here is. Let's see. Roger Stone calling on AG Pam Bondi to charge Fauci for lying to Congress. Well, we already know how Pam Bondi's dropped the ball on one thing. Let's hope she doesn't drop the ball on this, but let's hear what Roger has to say.
Charge. We also need a special prosecutor to investigate the origins of the COVID-19 vaccination. I call on the Attorney General to charge Anthony Fauci for lying to Congress. And when, in his legal defense, he argues that he cannot be charged because he has a preemptive pardon, the government can finally test the legality of the Autopen in which all of those documents should not be honored.
Hell yeah, Roger. Roger hitting it right there. Charge Fauci. This is what I've been saying. Charge Fauci and then test the legality. It's been revealed that Joe Biden's J6 Select Committee pardons were signed by Autopen at the direction of an assistant, making them null and void, just like Fauci. Prosecute them and put them all through what they put innocent people through over a lie. No one is above law. These are your J6 characters. Cat Turd said, Autopen pardons equal null and void. Knowingly committed sedition and treason. Oversight Committee. Here they are 8 hours ago. Bombshell. New York Times quietly confirms Biden aides used the Autopen to issue executive orders without a clear sign he'd even approved them. This is exactly why we're investigating. We must know who's calling the shots in the West Wing. Here is the New York Times headline. Biden says he made the clemency decisions that were recorded with Autopen. Okay, continuing here. Rand Paul, 8 hours ago, says, I will reissue my criminal referral of Anthony Fauci to the Trump DOJ. Are you listening, Pam? Did you hear Roger? Are you listening to Rand Paul? He was quote tweeting libs of TikTok. Holy schlit. New York Times confirms Fauci's pardon was signed Autopen at the direction of an assistant. Now, this is a snippet of the article from the New York Times that's been circulating. At the January 19th meeting, which took place in the yellow oval room of the White House residence, Mr. Biden kept his aides until nearly 10 p.m. to talk through such decisions, according to people familiar with the matter. The emails show that an aide to Mr. Siskel sent a draft summary of Mr. Biden's decisions at that meeting to an assistant to Mr. Zients, copying Mr. Siskel at 10:03 p.m. The assistant forwarded it to Mr. Reed and Mr. Zients, asking for their approval, and then sent final version to Ms. Feldman, copying many meeting participant aides at 10:28 p.m. 3 minutes later, Mr. Zients hit reply all and wrote, I approve the use of the Autopen for the execution of all the following pardons. So there you have it. Mr. Zients hit reply all and approved the use of the Autopen. Doesn't the president have to approve the use of the Autopen? Let's check in with Lindell TV.
What does that mean? On the Autopen story, which you were ahead of everyone.
Now, let me just, you can see on the screen, Gabrielle Kushner, former White House staff. This, the reporter asking Gabrielle Kushner.
Biden just himself stated that, stated explicitly, Gabby, that the Autopen was utilized for clemencies. What does that mean?
That means that he perjured himself 110% because under the Constitution, that does not, pardons cannot be executed, clemencies cannot be executed with the Autopen. That is known, it's in fine print in writing. So for him to actually say that and put that on record is heinous. And it reminded me, actually, remember last time we had talked and Neera Tanden said, I don't know who told me. And then this New York Times article is saying who told her. Jeff Zients was one of the people, being the chief of staff, saying, yes, I authorized the Autopen to be utilized for these pardons / clemencies. Well, that he was in office the same time that Neera Tanden is, and then certainly through the duration of Stephanie Feldman. So those two have to answer. Well, actually, all three have to answer to all of that. So the ultimate part is this is clear guilt. The bigger question is whether or not the government actually does something about it. So this kind of just bolsters the reporting in and of itself. And I know that GOP oversight, New York Times had said that GOP oversight with their investigation was looking at the archives. We've talked about this before. I mentioned that because all of the evidence is right there on the White House servers and for those emails, for those that maintain between each administration. So it's all right there. Information.
We'll break down the legal implications of this later in the week with an attorney who's well versed in that. Thank you so much, Gabrielle Kushner, for the important insight.
Okay. Yes, there's a constitutional reason. MJ Truth Ultra, one of my great follows. There is a constitutional reason why Donald Trump signs everything by hand. Donald Trump has never used an Autopen for EOs or legislation. Everything signed off on will come into question. Okay, let's take a look at the Constitution that they bring to light here. Article 1, Section 7 outlines the legislative process, stating that a bill becomes law if the president approves it, and he shall sign it if he does, or return it with objections or veto. If he doesn't, the phrase shall sign it is the key. Does this imply a personal or physical act? Article 2, Section 1, the president's executive power is vested in him. This suggests that certain acts, like approving laws, are his alone to perform, raising questions about delegating that act to a machine. The Constitution assumes the president's conscience individual assent into law. An Autopen, even if authorized, is a mechanical proxy. Some argue it's akin to delegating the decision itself, which the president cannot legally do. The framers envisioned a hands-on executive role. In 1787, signing meant pen to paper by the person in question. No machines exist to complicate this. An Autopen might clash with that original understanding. Legal authority. A signature traditionally proves intent and identity. If a machine replicates it, could someone later challenge the law's validity by claiming the president didn't truly sign it, like Trump is doing now? Precedent concerns. If Autopens are okay, what's next? Digital signatures, AIDS signing, or AI approvals, right? There is a constitutional crisis at hand. Libs of TikTok throws this back 19 hours ago. She posts a flashback. General Mark Milley said he would give China a heads up if the U.S. was planning to attack, and had secret calls with China behind Trump's back, calling it treason. The New York Times just confirmed his preemptive pardon was approved by a White House assistant and signed by an Autopen. Here we have again Mr. Zients, Mr. Autopen. Continuing through our investigation, and it's bad. Oh, this is it. Okay. All right. We posted this May 19th. All right. That's how long this whole scandal has been going on. I mean, the scandal's really been going on since Biden was in office and he stole the 2020 election. But check this out. This is O'Keefe Media Group man, James O'Keefe, God bless him, the work he does, and his team. Hidden camera video catches SBA Agent Tyler Robinson admitting White House Chief of Staff Zients controls Biden's Autopen, meaning staff, not the president, rubber stamp pardons and orders, constitutional crisis by mechanical arm. Think about that. So this was posted on May 19th by us. It was an investigation by O'Keefe Media Group, and now New York Times coming out and proving it was Zients himself. Check this out.
More powerful than Kamala.
I mean, by getting Jeff's sign off, you're getting the president's sign off.
Oh, this Jeff guy's powerful.
Yeah. Realistically, they are, people call him like the second most powerful person in Washington.
Let's go ahead and give Jeff Zients a call. I'm actually going to have my colleague do it from a different phone number. Here we go. Let's call Jeff Zients.
Hello.
Hi, is this Jeff?
It is.
Hey, Jeff, this is I'm a journalist with O'Keefe Media Group. I want to get your comment on a story we're going to be running with the White House. If you had a few moments, if you don't mind.
What's the story?
He runs the White House.
He runs the White House.
Like, he's responsible for everybody that works there. He helps set the president's agenda. Like, controls what gets said, all that stuff.
Is Jeff more powerful than Harris?
In some ways, yes. In some ways, no.
And is Jeff more powerful than Kamala?
Like, not legally, but.
So I have a subject in your branch of government, and he's talking about how, quote, you're the most powerful person at the White House compared to the vice president. Are you more powerful than the VP?
I'm not interested in this story. Thank you.
Sir, I'd like your comment on that. The American people would like to know.
Who would you say is the most powerful person at the White House?
Jeff.
Jeff?
Yeah.
Jeff is the most powerful person at the White House.
Other than, like, the president.
So all buck stops, like all roads lead to Jeff.
Jeff and the president, yeah.
Sir.
No comment. Sorry.
Sir, can you answer the question? The American people are interested. Are you, this is a source I'm not going to reveal, are you the more powerful than the president?
Why is he so stealth?
This is kind of a role.
Because that gives him more power.
Yeah.
More, like, ability to do things, get things done.
Yeah.
He says this. He says, who's the most powerful? Oh, he hung up. It's White House Chief of Staff.
What an intrepid undercover citizen journalist. What an intrepid person. I know you're listening. I can't say what your name is. But great work once again. Citizen journalists, American swipers meeting with people in Washington, D.C.
And now, New York Times dropping the bombshell, and it's closing in. We got criminal referrals going back for Fauci. Oh, here we have more. Here's RNC Research 7 hours ago. This is CNN.
At the end of the New York Times spoke to former President Biden and published a story overnight on the use of Autopens for some of the commutations and pardons at the end of his term. And one of the things that was reported was that President Biden, while he approved of the commutations on classes of people, he didn't necessarily sign off every individual one directly. How important do you feel that is, and where do you think this issue goes now?
John, I was just reading those reports this morning as well. My understanding is that, President Biden did look at these pardons, whether or not they came in classes of pardons, like these are people being pardoned because they had mandatory minimum sentences for certain drug offenses, and he didn't think that was appropriate, that they'd served their time well, as opposed to each individual one. I will have to take a look at that entire issue.
The New York Times.
Who was that? That was Senator Chris Van Hollen, the Democrat from Maryland, trying to explain it away. Oh, yeah, well, maybe there's just some batches of stuff, and, maybe we'll have to take a second look at it. I don't know, yeah, on CNN. Moving right along. We have some more here. Fox News alert. Let's take a listen.
That former President Biden, that he had orally granted all the pardons and commutations issued at the end of his term, meaning he did not personally sign the official warrants for clemency. Biden told the Times that he did, in fact, make every single one of the clemency decisions himself. but says that the Autopen was used to sign the warrants since there were a lot of them. Now, according to the Times, Biden called Trump and Republicans liars for saying he was incapacitated and his aides used the Autopen without authorization. Alicia, I see you're shaking your head. Your response to this?
Well, I have so many responses to this because we're supposed to believe this at this point. It's really hard to swallow that statement there, that he said that he made the decision on, quote, every single one, when we know from so much reporting that there was a limit to his time where people had access to him. So there were decisions that were made, quote unquote, after hours. We know that for a fact. And so to say that it was every single one, I'm going to have to see the receipts on this one because, and this is the question before Congress right now. They're trying to figure it out. That's why we have a line of aides and staffers coming up to testify. Who knows what we'll find out, but it's an interesting statement.
David can barely sit in his chair. You guys aren't seeing this at home. He is literally dying to get in here, David.
You're both on to something American people need to pay attention. Time, math. How many commutations and pardons in one day, and what hours would it take for him to do this individually? It strains incredulity. Remember Hillary Clinton said willing suspension of disbelief? Just do the math on what it would take for him to do that.
I think we did the math on this. He would have had to, it would have taken him like weeks to sign every single one of them. There were like thousands of them. Impossible for a human to do. So what? You got Zients that says, yeah, we got about 1,000 clemencies here we need to sign. Yeah, Biden's like, when do we get my ice cream? Yeah, just go for it. Use Autopen. Right?
When he couldn't cognitively get through more than a few hours a day of work.
Why weigh in on this now? I mean, isn't this just adding fuel to the fire?
Exactly what was going through my mind, Lisa, because these individuals, look, Ron Klain, others are expected to go up and be deposed on Capitol Hill. And, he is not doing them any favors. I mean, look, we watched the former president fight with the short stairs on airplanes, stages at, across the country, fighting with teleprompters. It was all very evident in front of us. And now he's choosing to fight with the Autopen because he doesn't like it.
But notice something he said there.
Yeah.
His exact words matter. It's very lawyer-like and Clinton-like. I orally did this. This is why, watch very carefully, because I've seen this play from the Clintons, from others. They come out and they make a very clear lawyer, but somewhat ambiguous statement that you really can't challenge and prove. Orally is a key word.
By the way, as the journalist in me, so it's worth noting that the interview, we're told, from the New York Times was only about 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. Didn't want to expose himself too long because, surely the New York Times is wanting to know too, like, okay, if we sit with him for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, will this become confusing for him? Will he exhibit some of that mental acuity decline? But apparently, this interview with the New York Times is only about 10 minutes, we're told.
It's a tightly controlled dodge.
Well, where's this heading, Alicia?
Well, I think it's heading to I don't recall. This is a setup for his aides once they get in there before the committees and they start answering questions when they say, oh, so what about this act of clemency here? Do you recall him orally telling you? It's very easy for them to say, to be able to, relieve themselves of any sort of commitment to the truth by saying, I don't recall.
Remember?
Yeah, well, that's why we need to win these midterms. That's why what's happening with this Epstein file, if it completely destroys any credibility in this administration and we lose the midterms, all these investigations go away. That's why this is so important. We need to have justice. Justice for all the people that were affected by Dr. Fauci, by the treasonous actions of Mark Milley, the J6 committee, all of them. So this is not going away anytime soon. And this New York Times story is only the tip of the iceberg. We're going to keep following this. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. It's time for my final thought. So this changes everything. We're not talking about some minor paperwork issue. We're talking about the fundamental question of who's been running America. If Jeff Zients can order presidential pardons with a machine at 10:30 at night, like he's calling in for Uber Eats, if Biden can claim he orally granted clemency like he's some medieval king, then we don't have a constitutional republic. We have a puppet show. And here is the kicker. Every lawyer worth their salt knows these pardons are legally questionable at best, completely void at worst. Roger Stone's already calling for Fauci's arrest. Rand Paul's reissuing criminal referrals. The J6 committee members who thought they were protected, well, they're not. Milley, who admitted to colluding with China, his pardon might be worthless paper. The Autopen didn't just sign documents, it signed the regime's death warrant. So here's my question. Do you believe that Biden even knew about these pardons before they were issued? Yes or no? Drop your answer below and grab your next news gear and support real journalism. Check out our President Autopen t-shirt at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. I think you're really going to like it. So you can trigger a liberal today with that one, or even our Alligator Alcatraz shirt. Yeah, people loving that one too. So check it out. Trigger a liberal today at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Okay, don't go anywhere. We are not done with the news yet. Today, it is coming in fast, and we do have Curio23 with a super chat. Come on now. Come on now. What do you call crystal clear urine? 1080p. Yeah, so that is a $2 bill. Thank you, sir. No clause. All right, let's find out what the answer is. You guys, there was no poll, or maybe there was and I didn't see it. I'll refresh the page. Maybe that poll will pop up. I'll get your answer. But the answer was, in fact, C. No clause requires it, and that's exactly what I said. And let's take a look and see what you guys said. Did you guys say it was C? Oh, you guys said it was A? What? Oh, come on.
How dare you?
My goodness. You guys have shamed us. You have shamed us at the Next News Network. I know I tell you guys not to Google the answers. You could have just at least done some homework. The answer was C. No clause requires that the Constitution is silent on personal signatures. Today's Autopen legal crisis. All right, continuing to our next question, giving you some time to go have a 1080p or fill up your coffee mug or pop some more popcorn or text your friends you're watching the greatest show on the internet, or to hit the repost button as you're watching this on X. Here is the trivia question. Which president secretly recorded thousands of White House conversations exposed during congressional hearings? Was it A, Lyndon Johnson, B, Richard Nixon, C, John F. Kennedy, or D, all of the above? Well, I think everybody knows the answer to this one. I'm going to go with B because that's what history tells me. Yes, B. We're going to find out what you guys say. You're already at B as well, with Richard Nixon at 66%. Okay, we're going to find out the answer after this segment, moving right along into our third topic of the day, moving into what is going on with the latest from President Trump here. I want to check one community note. Okay. All right. While the media obsessed over plea deals and palace intrigue, Trump just rewired the entire global order from the Oval Office. In 1 week, he's done what 4 years of Biden couldn't. Struck a massive NATO weapons deal where Europe pays everything and America pays nothing. He's giving Putin 50 days to make a deal or face crushing tariffs. He revealed that American pilots have been training for 22 years to strike Iran's nuclear sites, but no president had the guts to give the order until now. And buried in the news cycle, Barack Obama, apparently under federal investigation for violating the Espionage Act, Trump doctrine isn't coming. It's here, and the world better just adjust fast. So stay tuned. And while Trump rebuilds American strength on the world stage, smart Americans are rebuilding their personal strength with collagen. As we age, our body's collagen production drops dramatically by 40. You're already in decline. And that's why I use Ageless Multi-Collagen. This formula includes 5 key types from 4 premium sources, all hydrolyzed for easy absorption. No clumping, no order, just smooth blending into your morning routine. Every order helps feed children through NoKidHungry.org. So go to healthwithgary.com and get 51% off, free shipping, and a 60-day guarantee. That's healthwithgary.com, because looking strong and being strong go hand in hand. Okay, so this just in 24 hours ago, Joshua Hall. And who is Joshua Hall? Looking here, he's a, let's see, Joshua Hall, official X account of the Josh Hall for Congress campaign. 44.5 thousand followers on X, libertarian for Donald Trump. So he's a congressional candidate making this statement here. And he says, Barack Obama is under federal criminal investigation on the verge of being indicted for violations of the Espionage Act and conspiracy against rights related to his role in Russiagate and spying on President Trump's 2016 campaign. He has been implicated in the Comey and Brennan investigation, according to a DOJ source. If charged and convicted under these statutes, he potentially faces the rest of his life in federal prison. Well, I'll believe it when I see it. Of course, that is something I would love to see, but we do know that Comey and Brennan, all of those guys, are now officially under DOJ investigation, and of course, all roads lead to Barack Obama. Now, there are community notes on this post. I should point out, and I want to make sure you guys see this, that people are making a claim that Obama is not under investigation for any federal crime and is not at risk of being indicted for it. But I want to make it clear that this candidate has made the claim from a DOJ source. So any of these community noters on this post, well, did they talk to the source at the DOJ or didn't they? Right? Okay, so we're going to just kind of lean into that and see what happens. I'd love to see it. Now, taking a look at what President Trump has said about the tariffs. Listen.
Country. And it's basically telling countries that we are going to give you the privilege to shop and work in our country. And I think it's very good. And in some cases, we'll make deals. You know, we'll make a direct deal as opposed to a letter. We've already made some of them with various countries. But it's a tremendous amount of money to this country. It's really incredible. The potential of this country is incredible. It's been run very foolishly. It's been run stupidly, so stupidly. And some of the countries are very upset now because they've been taking advantage of us for 30, 40 years. And I had it stopped. I was stopping in the process, and then we had the COVID in the last part of my administration. But we had the strongest economy in the history of our country. And this is going to be better, I predict. This is going to be better. The money coming in, the tariffs coming in, hundreds of billions of dollars are coming in. They're pouring.
Okay, so this is his interview he did with his daughter-in-law, Laura Trump, and it's making headlines here. Oh, here's the worst punishment ever.
What's wrong?
Daddy's going to do that.
What?
Daddy's going to do crack.
He what?
He's going to do crack.
Are you serious? Daddy! What's wrong?
Daddy.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be called one either. Here's President Trump on the tarmac answering a question about Putin.
Secretary, are you going to be announcing sanctions on Russia tomorrow? We're going to see what we will see tomorrow, okay? We have the Secretary General. As you know, Europe has announced sanctions. But I am very disappointed with President Putin. You know, I thought he was somebody that meant what he said, and he'll talk so beautifully, and then he'll bomb people at night. We don't like that.
No, we don't. POTUS on strikes. POTUS on the strikes against Iran's key nuclear facilities, also on the tarmac.
Big strike. You add on that a tremendous success with the strike that we had, getting rid of nuclear weapons in Iran. That was a big strike. And, you know, when the pilots came to my office, they were there, as you know, with some of the other people having to do with that strike. they said something very interesting. They said, you know, we've been practicing this for 22 years, but no president had the guts to tell us to do it. But this has been on our minds for many, many years, and we did it. And I would say from 0 to 10, with 10 being the best, that attack was a 15. You add on that a tremendous...
Okay, continuing. Here we have Trump announcing a weapons deal with NATO to arm Ukraine, confirming Europe will not foot the bill. As you know, I was just at NATO summit with President Trump, traveling in the official White House delegation with the media. We stayed at the hotel that the White House had commandeered the entire hotel for the duration of the stay. An amazing experience. So here we have the Secretary General of NATO in the Oval Office just a few hours ago, and President Trump talking about this new deal. Now, when I was there at the NATO summit, one of the key takeaways was that we have this new new money being pledged from European NATO nations, about $130 billion. Okay, so now we have a deal with NATO to arm Ukraine. Now, let me just make something very clear. I just want to see this whole thing come to an end. I don't want to see anyone else killed in this war, just like President Trump. Okay? So I'm not sure how this advances that, but it's got to come to an end. Let's listen.
Matt's going to, and we make the best equipment, the best missiles, the best of everything. The European nations know that. And we've made a deal today, and I'm going to have Mark speak about it, but we've made a deal today where we are going to be sending them weapons and they're going to be paying for them. The United States will not be having any payment made. We're not buying it, but we will manufacture it and they're going to be paying for it. Our last meeting of a month ago was very successful in that they agreed to 5%, which is more than $1 trillion a year, so they have a lot of money. And these are wealthy nations.
Okay, so what President Trump is saying is that the military-industrial complex is going to get a nice big fat check to make some more weapons to send to Europe, and then, of course, Europe onto Ukraine.
A lot of money, and they want to do it. They feel very strongly about it, and we feel strongly about it, too. But we're in for a lot of money, and we don't want to do it anymore, and we can't. But we make the best, and we're going to be sending the best to NATO, and in some cases to maybe, at Mark's suggestion, if we go to Germany, where they're going to send early on missiles, and they'll be replaced, and NATO is going to take care of it. It's going to be coordinated by NATO, and they're going to work very much with Matt Whitaker, who's right here, who's a great ambassador, and Matt's going to be coordinating. You better do a good job, Matt.
I will.
But Matt's going to coordinate. He's a very talented guy. He's going to coordinate everything.
It was funny. They're talking about Matt Whitaker. In fact, I met Matt Whitaker at Mar-a-Lago some years ago. I got his phone number, and just had it in my phone, and I text him while I was at NATO. I'm texting the freaking ambassador, the U.S. ambassador to NATO while I'm at NATO, and I go, "Hey Matt, I'm on the ground with the U.S. delegation. Love to have a few words with you." I got a read report from the text message. He did not respond. And then later on, if you watch the video, the behind-the-scenes video that we shot, and we put it up on the channel here, there's a video of Matt Whitaker walking up. And I asked him, I said, "Hey, you got a couple words for the folks back home?" He's like, "Oh, I'm not doing any media right now." And we took a selfie. I think I might have posted a selfie on X. But I said, "Hey, Matt, we met at Mar-a-Lago." And he goes, "Oh yeah, I got your text. Sorry, we couldn't make it work out." So maybe I should shoot him a text and get some more clarity on this weapons deal. But it looks like Matt Whitaker is going to be helping facilitate what is exactly going to happen here. So Trump announcing a weapons deal with NATO to arm and confirming Europe will foot the bill. A weapons deal with NATO to arm Ukraine. Now, looking at that sentence, this is what Putin is so pissed off about, is that NATO is arming Ukraine, and it doesn't see. I just want to see a path to peace here. There's no discussion of an off-ramp to peace. Just more weapons deals. Here we have more.
Today, where we are going to be sending them weapons and they're going to be paying for them. the United States will not be having a suggestion if we go to Germany where they're going to, NATO's going to take care of it. It's going to be coordinated.
Okay, so we just saw that clip here. Here's President Trump talking more with the Secretary General in the Oval Office.
It's a honor, great honor, to have a friend of mine who's become very friendly over the last number of years. Each other before, but Mark is the head of NATO, Mark Rutte.
And Mark called him Daddy. Mark called him Daddy at the NATO summit.
Secretary General of NATO, highly respected by everybody that knows him, but in particular the European countries. They have great reliance on him, and he's done a fantastic job. And we had a tremendous meeting. I guess it's about a month ago, and I think Mark will tell you that it was really perhaps more important the date of November 5th. That was the election day. Maybe that was the most important because we've made tremendous progress together.
Continuing with our coverage of the Oval today, here's President Trump talking about how pissed off he is at Russia.
With Russia, one of the reasons that you're here today is to hear that we are very unhappy, I am, with Russia. But we'll discuss maybe a different day. But we're very, very unhappy with them, and we're going to be doing very severe tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. Tariffs at about 100%. You'd call them secondary tariffs. You know what that means. But today we're going to talk about something else. And as you know, we've spent $350 billion approximately on this war with Russia and Ukraine, and would like to see it end. It wasn't my war, it was Biden's war. It's not my war. I'm trying to get you out of it. And we want to see it end. And I'm disappointed in President Putin because I thought we would have had a deal 2 months ago, but it doesn't seem to get there. So based on that, we're going to be doing secondary tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. It's very simple. And they'll be at 100%. And that's the way it is. That can be more simple. It's just the way it is. I hope we don't have to.
What else have we got here? President arriving back at the White House for another week of winning. Love these moments at Marine One. Always epic. President Trump arriving like a boss. Here's more. President Trump, CNN. The word to describe Trump's net approval on immigration ranging from horrible, -27 to bad. Let's listen.
Focus on Gallup. In a word, Kate, oof. What are we talking about here? Take a look at Trump's net approval rating on immigration. Got 5 numbers for you across the screen here. A lot of focus on Gallup at -27. That's horrible. Quinnipiac University, -16. That's awful. Marist is bad at -9. Ipsos is -8. Fox at -7. Bad. So going from your left side, bad, to just downright terrible on the right side of your screen, the American people have turned against President Donald Trump on what was his best issue, one in which he had a positive net approval rating for most of the term, and arguably the issue that got him, of course, the GOP nomination all the way back in 2016. And one of the issues, of course, he used to quite a successful degree.
Absolutely. Is there signs that this is affecting his overall approval?
Okay, so you see this here, and then the question is, does this actually matter to folks? Why don't we zone in Hispanic voters, right? Because obviously a lot of the immigrants who have been affected by this have been Hispanic voters in terms of the immigration crackdown. Take a look here. Trump's net approval rating among Hispanics. Remember, Trump put in a historic performance last fall among Hispanic voters, did better than any Republican nominee dating all the way back since we have data in 1972. His net approval rating among Hispanics in February was pretty gosh darn good for a Republican at -2 points. Look at how far it's fallen now in June, according to CBS News YouGov, at -26 points. And I should note, CBS News YouGov is not alone on this. This is what we see in the averages as well. Donald Trump was doing historically well for a Republican among Hispanics in terms of his net approval rating, and now he's basically back where he was during his first term, which is quite a low approval rating, one in which has brought his overall approval rating down amongst the entire electorate.
And one thing that has been very clear is that as this crackdown has continued, it has put immigration enforcement, ICE, in a whole new spotlight, across the country. What are the numbers on ICE now?
Yeah, what are the numbers on ICE? It's not just affecting Donald Trump, it's affecting ICE as well. ICE is not approving. In Trump's first term, the average was 0 points, right? So right there on the bottom, as many approve as disapprove. Look at where we are now in June of 2025. Minus 17 points all the way down. So the bottom line is this immigration crackdown not being viewed popularly by the American public, bringing Donald Trump down and bringing immigration and custom enforcement.
Interesting. I wonder who the American people are listening to. They're listening to CNN. Where are they getting their news from? They should be getting their news from us, because we get it directly from the White House. We get the real truth, unfiltered. So I don't know about these numbers. Let's see. Here's Caitlin Bennett 24 hours ago. A law student turned anti-Trumper has a meltdown over Adam Francisco's MAGA hat and threatens to beat me up for supporting Trump.
If you could say one thing to a Trump supporter, what would you say to them?
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry.
What would you say to a Trump supporter?
So, your Mexican family? Where is he now?
What?
Where's your Mexican family?
All right, go ahead and say it to him.
Fuck you. I don't care.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, fuck you.
Thank
What
you.
about me?
Was that directed at me too?
Do you want to be fucked too? Because fuck you
Not
too.
by you.
Fuck you too.
No,
fuck you
I'm
talking
good.
about with your dumb ass. Trump don't even like you or your kind. Fuck who you talk about. And bitch, don't. How you Yeah, fuck y'all. Fuck you.
Okay, have a good Tuesday.
And if I catch you, I'll be
If you catch me what? Catch me what? Was that a threat?
It was.
Why don't I just do something now?
Oh, you want me to beat your ass so I can go to jail? Good to see you. Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you just do something right now then?
Hi. Hi, yeah. We don't provoke.
I feel like, wait, no, because I just want to say something. Because I just, they called us to talk.
I mean, I pay my security guard to do something, so, I mean, might as well get the use out of it, right?
Right, exactly.
You're going to regret this when you see it. She's going to be very embarrassed when she grows up and gets some man.
Fuck both y'all. Especially her.
Isn't that a good thing that he exists?
No, I don't like him, so he could die. I don't want to get canceled.
You canceled, girl.
I hope your future employers do not get wind of this video because you won't get a job.
You don't think so?
No, the amount of curse words you've said, you can't debate. And lawyers are meant to debate. You have not been able to present one good argument, and you can't do it without cursing. So no law firm is going to see this to be like, wow, we're going to hire her. It's not going to happen. So good luck in your law career.
I might not even have one with Trump. He already canceling financial and all that other good stuff. So I might not even have one. Fuck it.
If you could say one thing to a Trump supporter.
Wow. That's an educated person, right? Okay, continuing with our coverage here on the president. Let's see. Here's more on the Ukraine-Russia situation. Nick Sorter reporting Trump purchasing $10 billion in arms in the United States. We just covered that. Okay, here he is talking about Ukraine.
That you have taken. This is really big.
This is the Secretary General of NATO. Pardon me.
On Thursday, that you have taken a decision. And the decision is that you want Ukraine what it needs to have to maintain, to be able to defend itself against Russia, but you do want Europeans to pay for it, which is totally logical. And this is building on the tremendous success of the NATO summit, the 5%, but also the decision to keep Ukraine strong and the decision to increase our defense industrial production. So based on that, that was Europe stepping up. This is again Europeans stepping up. So I've been in contact with many countries. I can tell you that at this moment, Germany massively, but also Finland and Denmark and Sweden and Norway, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, Canada, they all want to be part of this. And this is only the first wave. There will be more. This is really
There will be more. President Trump talking about the deal.
We should have had a deal done a long time ago. But it just keeps going on and on and on. And every night people are dying. A lot of Russian soldiers are dying, by the way. And a lot of Ukrainian soldiers, too. But a lot of Russian soldiers are dying. We should have.
And moving right along, we have some more on what happened with the. Here's more from the Lara Trump interview, talking about, let's see, his legacy Here.
When history looks back on this time in our country, when history looks back on you, how would you like to be remembered?
A good person, but a person that saved our country. I really believed our country was going down for the fall. I don't know if it ever could have come back. It was very close to the edge. And I really would like to be known as the man that saved our country.
And I think he will. I think he will. He does have to navigate a lot right now. We also have this. Let's talk about the what happened in Butler. Here's Roger Stone discussing Donald Trump's first brush with death back in 1989. But here's President Trump talking about Butler, which he very rarely does.
Communications, but and I'm satisfied with it. I'm satisfied with it. They should have had somebody in the building. That was a mistake. They should have had communications with the local police. They weren't tied in. And they should have been tied in. So there were mistakes made. And that, shouldn't have happened. And that building was a prime building in terms of what they were trying to do. So, but I was satisfied in terms of the bigger plot, the larger plot. I was satisfied. And, I have great confidence in these people. I know the people. And they're very talented, very capable. They had a bad day, and I think they'll admit that. They had a rough day. This is a very dangerous job, being president. I say a race car driver, 1% of 1%, think of that, die. It's not a bull rider. I think that's pretty dangerous. It's like 1/10 of 1% die. And with the president, it's like 5%. Why didn't you tell me this? I could have maybe made a different decision, but I wouldn't have made a different decision because we're doing so well. The country's.
Here's let's go to Roger Stone talking about. I didn't know this. This is apparently one of the first time story being told. Donald Trump's first brush with death in 1989, and Roger Stone was there.
With death. 1 year ago today, President Donald Trump, then candidate Donald Trump, survived a brush with death. Several weeks later, at a West Palm Beach golf course, he survived another brush with death. But people don't know there was a third brush with death. Let me read to you from a column by the syndicated columnists Evans and Novak from October 10th, 1989. Veteran Republican political consultant may have been responsible for saving his client, Donald Trump, from dying in the crash of the billionaire dealmaker's helicopter. Stone had asked for an appointment with Trump that afternoon to discuss several pressing matters of business. Impossible, Stone was told, because Trump had to fly that afternoon to Atlantic City on casino business. But when Stone persisted, Trump finally agreed to see him, saying that he would send his top aides to New Jersey on a helicopter and then have the helicopter return to New York to pick him up and take him down Atlantic City. Stone and Trump had barely sat down to begin their conversation when they were interrupted with the horrifying news. The helicopter, which had been rented because the Trump helicopter was being serviced, had crashed into the Garden State Parkway, sending all 5 passengers, including Trump's 3 top executives, to their death. Trump was devastated, but he then called every one of the widows so that they would hear from him rather than on television or radio that their husbands had perished. I have never said, and I will never say, that I saved Donald Trump's life. I was merely an instrument of the Lord, and I knew at that moment that his life had been preserved, as it was in Butler, for some larger purpose. I recognized in 1988 that he had the size. I don't mean the physical size, but I mean the stature, the stamina, the courage, the independence, the persistence to be not just a great candidate for president, but to be a truly great president. I myself, as I think many of you, am unsatisfied with the answers we have received regarding the attempt on President Trump's life in Butler, Pennsylvania. I am not certain that Thomas Matthew Crooks is indeed the shooter. I am not certain that he acted alone. And I find the missteps of the Secret Service in coordination with the state and local police unacceptable and unexplainable. And therefore I say, it is time for the appointment of a special prosecutor to investigate the two attempts on President Donald Trump's life. 1 year.
I can get behind that 100%. Here's President Trump 6 hours ago.
And it's remarkable to think that it was only 1 year ago this week that my time on earth nearly ended. And if you look at that, God was with me, because that's something that, in theory, I should not be with you today. Well, I believe that, and I believe it, that my life was saved by God to really make America great again. I really believe that. I think I have a son, he's a great shooter, like a championship shooter. Don and Eric was a great shooter, both of them. But they said that at that distance with that gun, you didn't have a chance. And we turned the head at the right time, didn't we? Huh? We turned the head at the right time. So I don't know, some people say it was lucky, and some people say something else. I say something else. I think God helped us.
And God is still with us, my friends. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is what America looks like in action. No more blank checks to Ukraine. No more NATO freeloading on American taxpayers. Empty threats to our enemies. Trump just flipped the script. Europe buys our weapons with their money. Putin gets 50 days before economic destruction, and Iran finally understands we're not bluffing anymore. We make the best stuff, that's what Trump said, but we're not paying anymore. And while he's restructuring the global power, Obama's past apparently catching up. Federal criminal investigation for spying on Trump's campaign, the Espionage Act, conspiracy against rights. The grand jury is apparently meeting. It's not revenge, it's justice delayed. For 4 years, Biden let the world walk all over us while Obama's crew covered their tracks, and now the bills are coming due. Everyone's paying except America. So here's my question. Is Trump right to make Europe pay 100% for Ukraine's weapons while we profit? Or the war machine profits? Yes or no? Hit the comments, and then check out our merch shop. It's linked down below. You can get our President Pen shirt, American Alcatraz, Alligator Alcatraz, Mag Avengers, Trigger Liberal today at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Okay, so we have no super chats to speak of at the moment. But I think you guys are going to be shocked. Y'all are going to be shocked by this. You guys said Richard Nixon. That's what I said. All of the above. Johnson, Nixon, and Kennedy all secretly recorded conversations, but only Nixon's were fully exposed. Wait a minute. This question, I don't like how this question was worded. Which president secretly recorded thousands of White House conversations exposed during the congressional hearings? Well, Nixon was the one exposed during congressional hearings. The answer says it right there. Only Nixons were fully exposed in the congressional. So we were right. The trivia answer is wrong. All right. Moving right along, we have more news for you today. As you saw in that last report earlier, they were talking about how CNN says that, the numbers are bad. American people don't like what's happening with immigration. Well, we're going to find out exactly what's happening with immigration in just a second. But first, our new trivia question. Which immigration act was signed into law after being called national suicide by critics in 1965? Was it the A, Immigration Reform Act, B, the Hart-Celler Act, C, Border Security Act, or D, McCarran-Walter Act? Hell if I know. I know. I'm going to go, you know what? Hart-Celler, Border Security, McCarran-Walter. Goodness. I have no idea, guys. I can't even answer this one. And I don't have time to go Google it. So I'm just going to say A. We'll find out, though. You guys are saying A as well. So maybe we're both right. We'll find out. Okay, let's get to our next topic of the evening. Chicago just declared educational bankruptcy. $734 million deficit. 432 teachers fired. 677 special education assistants gone. Why? They spent all the money on illegal immigrants. But that is just the start. This week, ICE raided a grow facility and found 319 illegals running forced labor camp. 14 unaccompanied children trapped inside. Meanwhile, LA's mayor is handing out cash to illegals who refuse to work because they're scared. Tom Homan's response? These Democrats haven't got the balls to be Border Patrol agents. Even Mark Cuban. What? Mark Cuban admits it's time to support deportations. The border crisis isn't coming, it's here. It's bankrupting our cities, and Democrats are funding the invasion with your tax dollars. Watching. We got the receipts. While our schools collapse and teachers get fired to pay for illegal immigrants, there's another crisis destroying America, our bee populations. The good people at Patriot Bee Best have done extensive research about this critical issue. They've created an educational online digest to spread the word about challenges facing the American bee and educating patriots to band together to solve the problem. Patriot Bee Best is a digital bee sanctuary for education and real change. For less than 17 cents a day, you can support this show and support bee restoration in the United States. Check out patriotbeebest.com and join the Hive today with promo code NEXTNEWS for 25% off. Check it out. Link down below, patriotbeebest.com, and we appreciate their support of this network. All right. What is going on? Karen Bass laundering taxpayer money through nonprofits to pay illegal immigrants too frightened to go to work. Because she has frightened that ICE raids, which are only happening because she won't cooperate in enforcing federal and state law. The insanity must end. Let's listen in.
It's just as she's saying that it's philanthropy. Yes. But what that means is there's all these non-profits, which just as we've seen before, that ends up being funneled through. It's actually taxpayer money going to the non-profits. Then she said, oh, it's philanthropy. No, it's taxpayer money.
Yeah, it's philanthropy. We're going to oversee it.
By the way, at a time when she has $1 billion deficit in Los Angeles, $1 billion deficit, and this is where it's about. And the final point, she says, oh, this is for people who are too frightened to go to work. Why are they frightened to go to work? Because of her fear-mongering. The whole thing is unbelievable. She's saying that it's philanthropy. Yeah. But what that means...
Unbelievable. Is she really doing that? Wow. Let's check this out. Here's more. Chicago flipping red.
Trump to come.
This is from the Trish Reagan show.
Chicago voters have had it with their mayor. Listen.
You all sit there and said you will not allow Trump to come in here and get these illegals. Yeah, you can smile. We're in a $1 billion deficit. And you spent half of our money, half of that on illegals. You campaigned and doubled down that you would not raise property tax. You wanted to raise our tax $300 million. They shut it down. Now we back here for $150 million. Okay. See, this is what we asking now. Since you want to crash out, some of y'all say y'all willing to go to jail for it. Trump, Tom Homan, make an example of this right here first. Please come here first. Spend our tax dollars to go. Michael Rodriguez, you said to take Trump to court, protect these illegals. That's cool because we about to make all of y'all aldermen famous. Y'all think this is town rat? I think not. Flip Chicago red. We not playing.
He may have a problem. Chicago voters have had it with their mayor. Listen.
You all sit up there and said you will not allow Trump.
Oh, yeah, Chicago has had enough. Here's President Trump talking about open borders with Laura Trump on Fox News.
I said, they want to have open borders. That was the first time I realized it. I didn't think it would be possible for anybody to want open borders because, who would want open borders? And open borders where people come in totally unvetted and unchecked, totally, just walk right in, walk right through. And some of the people, I know I want to be politically correct, but some of these people, you can look at them and you can say, these people are in trouble. This is a rough group of people. And we're right now getting them out. And you know what? ICE and Border Patrol, Tom Homan, Christie's been amazing. Tom has been amazing. I said,
everyone's been amazing. And here is Mr. Amazing Tom Homan on CNN. Not a safe space. Not a safe space for Tom Homan talking with Dana Bash.
I mean, bottom line is, from the day one, I've been doing this job since 1984. Detainees complain about the conditions of detention. And I said this many times. You can simply go to ice.gov and look at the detention standards ICE has. They have the highest detention standards in the industry. But these same congressmen are complaining about alligator Alcatraz. You didn't see them complaining about under the Biden administration, people being held in a Border Patrol parking lot surrounded by a fence in the sweltering heat. Not a word. You didn't hear a word about 500,000 children being trafficked in the country and them not being able to locate 300,000. President Trump, this administration is finding thousands of those children. So, they have a lot of anger under President Trump on how we're doing business, and they ignored 4 years of open borders, historic migrant death, historic Americans dying from fentanyl, historic women and children being sex trafficked, historic number of people on terrorist watch lists coming across the border. Silence, because they're complicit because they didn't take the administration on and ask them to secure the border. You can't have strong national security in this country if we don't have border security. We got to know who's coming and what's coming, where it's coming. But instead, they kept silent and they kept feeding the American people a secure border, and we did not.
Yes, that's true. We did not have a secure border. Here's more. Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons slams Democrats for attempting to delegitimize ICE operations.
ICE, like Mr. Homan said, that was a criminal operation. That was a federal criminal search warrant and federal arrest warrant that we executed. So, Bill, we hear all the time that, ICE is out there. They don't have any warrants. They're just kidnapping people on the street. Well, we did exactly what elected officials on the left and the right have both said. If we had a criminal search warrant, if we had something signed by a judge, they would support us. And obviously they're not. We went ahead and did a dual law enforcement mission where we were looking at someone that was an organization based in America that was focused on human trafficking, forced labor, and potential child welfare trafficking. And that's what we did. We went ahead and we executed that search warrant, yet still we meet resistance and a lot of rhetoric for just out there doing our law enforcement mission. Mr. Homan said that.
Tom Homan goes... He bodies a radical left loser who interrupts his speech at the Turning Point event over the weekend. Check it out.
That is not what they wanted. They're playing the long game. Let's release them in the community. Wait 3 or 5 years. Pardon me?
Are you an MS-13 member? It says so.
Hey, that's okay. That's okay. I got a question. No. I got a question for you. Why don't you come up here and hand me that picture? Bring it. USA. USA! USA! All right. You got morons like this all over the country. This guy wouldn't like to serve his nation. This guy ain't got the balls to be an ICE officer. He hasn't got the balls to be a border patrol agent. This guy lives in his mother's basement. The only thing that surprises me, you don't have purple hair and a nose ring. Get out of here, you loser. And you're such a badass, meet me off stage in 13 minutes and 50 seconds. I guarantee you, he sits down to pee. Guaranteed. Sanctuary cities. Let me talk about sanctuary cities real quick. Sanctuary cities are pushing back against the Trump agenda.
That was solid gold. Oh, boy, I love it. Okay, Errol Weber, check this out. 24 hours ago. Great account, great follow. I encourage you guys to do so. 24 hours ago, he posted, Chicago public schools now bankrupt as the city faces $734 million deficit after paying illegals. Now must lay off 1,458 employees. Watch this.
Workforce planning and budget. Chicago Public Schools just announced it's laying off more than 1,400 school-based employees. This includes 432 teachers and 677 special ed classroom assistants. CPS says this is part of its annual workforce planning and budgeting process. Historically, the district says more than 80% of impacted employees have secured new positions within CPS prior to the start of the school year. It's not known if the current $734 million budget deficit will impact that rehiring process. Chicago Public Schools just announced it's laying off more than 1,400.
Wow. Chicago is screwed. And check this out. Muse posted this 24 hours ago. Posting, out of touch? Is it just me, or do Democrats like Debbie Wasserman Schultz seem completely out of touch with the lives of most Americans? The vast majority of Americans brush their teeth in the same bathroom where their toilet's located. In fact, that's the standard of design in most households. Here she is. Democrats are shocked. Illegal detainees must poop where they brush their teeth. Look at this. And then there's like a standard prison layout. Oh, my.
Drinking water. So they essentially drink. They get their drinking water and they brush their teeth where they poop in the same unit. They bragged that they went above standards, supposedly, and gave them a 3-foot privacy wall that stretches the length inside the 32 detainee cage. A 3-foot privacy wall that stretches the length of the 3 toilets. So they...
yeah. But perhaps the most shocking is this from Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban calling on Democrats to support administration efforts to deport illegal immigrants. Wow. This I did not expect.
They should be putting Tom Homan on blast, saying, okay, the FBI has their top 10 most wanted list, right? Let's just get this right. Homan, don't, do it right. List the top 100. Let's go after them. List the top 1,000, criminals that are here that need to be deported. We'll all help you. But the Democrats would say something to the effect, we'll help you. They only have to do something that's the antithesis of what Trump says and does. You've never heard a Democrat say in the past 7 months, yeah, okay, I don't like it, but this is a step in the right direction. We're going to help, because I think the better path is for the Democrats to bring attention to the bad things and the good things and say on the good things, we'll help you, right? Which they would never say, because it disarms. Whenever you're in a sales environment and you say something positive about competition, it's disarming. yeah, we're better, but these guys, that's not so bad. They're trying really hard. Okay, Tom Homan, we don't want criminals. If Venezuela and Colombia opened up their jails and sent all their worst criminals to us, we don't want them here either. If MS-13 has 173 gang members here from where, we don't want them here either. Post that list. And you know what? Chuck Schumer, I'm Chuck Schumer. I'm going to help you get rid of them. I'm going to post all those lists everywhere. We're all going to go after those bad guys together because they shouldn't be here. Now you disarm him. Now you disarm the Republicans who, think that that the Democrats can't get anything right. You do things that you can undermine. Undermining in the Democrats' perspective is always, you're wrong, it's Trump, you're wrong. The T word, Trump, is your word. And you can't just always use that in a negative line. The best way to convince people to reconsider is to say, okay, they're doing this. Okay, we'll help them. But let's go, what about these people they're pulling off the streets in black hoodies, right? Post all the bad guys. We'll use our resources. Every single sanctuary city is going to, I'll make sure that they all allocate resources to go after the Tom Homan 100. And when one.
Wow. Okay. So he's basically saying use it as a strategy to get people, in their camp on board. Here's Secretary Noem torching the critics.
On top of each other. Would have said that back during the Biden administration and back when Democrats were in the White House and they were piling people on top of each other on cement floors and literally didn't have 2 feet to move. They never did that, and that's why this politics has to end. We took cameras in there. We will take cameras in there and show people what these facilities look like, because if you compare them to what happened under the Biden administration and under the Obama administration, these centers are at the highest levels, and they're even higher than what our federal prison standards are or state or local often are. Would have said that back.
Here is more crybaby Senator Alex Padilla. If I stood at Home Depot, would I get deported?
Of ICE. And what if I was outside of Home Depot because I like to do some work around the house, not dressed in a suit? Would I be a target of ICE enforcement under Tom Homan? Probably. And it's just wrong. It's not just due process.
Well, maybe if you were standing with the illegals who are on the corner holding cardboard signs asking for work, yeah, you might get rounded up with them. Okay? But I doubt if you're, walking the aisles with a shopping list looking for the right shade of blue.
Rights that have become the concern, but racial. And what if I was outside of Home Depot? Because I like.
Yeah, what if you were outside of Home Depot? Give me a break, dude. That's the same guy who got his ass handed to him when he tried to interrupt Secretary Noem. Here is Los Angeles Mayor Bass. Here's more of her talking about how she's putting cash.
Great idea. This is a way to distract from her failure as a mayor, the crime, the homelessness problem, the lack of rebuild after the fires that were preventable when you were in Ghana. Now it's this great idea. Let's give illegal aliens cash because they're too scared to work illegally. Watch.
We also are going to have a reinstitution of the Angelino card, something that Mayor Garcetti started during COVID, that will actually provide cash assistance to people. Because, you have people who don't want to leave their homes, not going to work, and they are in need of cash. We're organizing food deliveries. I mean, there's all sorts of things that we are having to do now to protect people from the federal government.
She said each of...
Protect people. You mean protect illegals? Protect people. Spare me the frickin' rhetoric here. Here's more. Tom Homan steamrolling Politico's Dasha Burns when she has doubt on the need for ICE to wear masks.
I think one of the things that's had a lot of folks up in arms is that ICE agents, unlike other law enforcement, have been masked to protect their identities. That's not something that we've really had on this scale in this.
Look at Tom Homan's face. Look at his face. As she's asking the question. He's like, are you freaking serious? Are you seriously asking me this question? Oh, he's just like getting ready. This is the wind-up face. This is the face that he has right before he turns into a lion and devours his prey. I can't wait to see this.
Country, do you?
Well, we never have the scale of attacks on ICE. We have now up 700% attacks on doxing against
Well,
ICE
you've had
agents.
increased attacks on police officers as well in the wake of the defund the police movement too, but they haven't put masks on.
You name a police agency that has a 700% increase in assaults. Name one.
I haven't looked at that data. Yeah.
You won't find one. The attacks on ICE is unprecedented, 700% increase. And we're not even talking about the doxing of agents, their spouses, and their children. So they're wearing masks to help give them some sort of protection. But the same people that are complaining about ICE wearing masks, have they ever said anything about BLM protesters wearing masks?
Well, I mean, that leads me to the question that, like, do you have concerns that it...
Let me answer, though. Let me answer.
Yeah, okay.
Have they ever say anything about the mass protesters that became criminals on college campuses that threatened Jewish students and took over buildings, destroyed property? They were all wearing masks. Did anybody pass legislation saying they can't wear a mask during a protest? No. We're talking about law enforcement.
Oh, I think there are a lot of people who are upset about that. But then...
Have you seen any legislation proposed to remove masks from protesters that become criminals, that take over college campus? You haven't. Look at the BLM protesters, how many lives were lost, how much property was stolen. They're all wearing masks. Did anybody propose legislation saying it's illegal to wear a mask in public while you're protesting? No, there isn't. This is attacking ICE officers. The Democrats want to vilify men and women of ICE and border. And I said from day one, when President Trump won office and I came back and said, now the vilification starts. Right now, it's the racist ICE, the racist border patrol for simply enforcing the law to deal with the repercussions of Biden administration's open borders, where millions of criminals, public safety threats were released in this country. So I support ICE wearing masks. You're still wearing insignia. You got HSI, ERO, or FBI, DEA, but there needs to be some level of protection because the tax is unprecedented. 700%, for God's sake. And what I want to remind people is, I was an ICE agent. These men and women at ICE, they're mothers and fathers too. They don't hang their heart on a hook every day and they come to work. Not the beast. They're enforcing a law. They're trying to make this country safe again, and they're being vilified for it and attacked for it. And we're not going to tolerate it. Zero tolerance on this.
I think
zero freaking tolerance. Oh, and let's go. Let's go to my boy, Stephen Miller, 11 hours ago. Here it is. Stephen Miller delivers the single greatest explanation of the Democrat Party's immigration agenda in 2 minutes flat. This is a wake-up call. It lays out a strategy decades in the making, a history lesson unfolding in real time. Yeah, Stephen, let's go.
And socialism. The left has been trying to shove Marxism, socialism, and communism down the throats of the American people for generations now. They ultimately were not able to do this during the Cold War because the middle class revolted against communism and Marxism and social engineering. The left shifted their tactics. The Democratic Party shifted their tactics to use migration as a weapon to break down the middle class and to gain political power and control in this country. They used migration to destroy our public education system, to destroy our healthcare system, to destroy wages and working conditions for the middle class of this country, and in effect, to destroy social and community cohesion. And then in that rubble, in that chaos, in that conflict, to then try to articulate the need for ever more government control, ever more government redistribution, ever more government power, and then to ultimately import voters to then support that agenda, to import voters who do not believe in limited government, who do not believe in the U.S. Constitution. And that is why you are seeing now this violent insurrectionist revolt by the Democrat Party against immigration and customs enforcement. You see video after video after video of Democrat shock troops in the streets hurling rocks at ICE officers and Border Patrol in their vehicles, firing projectiles at them, violently assaulting them, and yes, opening fire on them. Multiple assassination attempts against our brave and heroic ICE and Border Patrol agents, and barely a word of condemnation from the Democrat Party. In fact, the Democrat rhetoric calling our ICE officers, calling our Border Patrol Nazis and Gestapos and fascists, demanding as they do that ICE leave their communities, this nullificationist rhetoric, all of which inspires and incites these domestic terror attacks against law enforcement. So we really are at a hinge point here for the West.
We are at a hinge point, my friends. And if you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. This is what invasion looks like with a receipt. Chicago's children lost 432 teachers so illegals could get benefits. Special education kids, the most vulnerable, lost 677 assistants, not because of budget cuts, not because of COVID, but because Democrat mayors chose foreign nationals over American children. And when ICE tries to rescue kids from trafficking rings, when they bust forced labor camps, when they arrest rapists and murderers, Democrats call them fascists. Tom Homan nailed it. These politicians sat silent while migrants died in parking lots under Biden, but now they're outraged when criminals get deported. Even Democrats like Mark Q are saying enough. Stephen Miller just exposed their decades-long plan. Demographic replacement funded by your tax dollars, and they're not even hiding it anymore. LA is literally paying illegals not to work. So here's my question. Should any mayor who uses tax dollars for illegal immigrant benefits while firing teachers be charged with dereliction of duty? Yes or no? Sound off below. And show your support for real journalism at our merch shop. If you want to support Alligator Alcatraz, you can do so proudly. You can even expose the Autopen scandal. A little tongue-in-cheek t-shirt. You can check them out. You can also support one of your favorite members of the Trump administration in our American Badass series. It's all there. To trigger a liberal at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. You'll find it linked down below. Okay, we got Jody. She just dropped $5 about 13 minutes ago. Here's another $5 just for playing Tom. I love when men don't tolerate stupidity. Made my night. Thanks for you and your team's hard work. Well, I thank you sincerely for that. Here is the $5 that you just put in the jar. Jody, much appreciated. Sincerely. Okay. Okay, now I want to find out what the answer is to this because I don't have the answer. I mean, I have the answer here, but I don't have the answer here. So you guys said A, Immigration Reform Act. That's what I said on this question. Well, it was, in fact, B. The Hart-Celler Act. It eliminated national origin quotas and trans-U.S. demographics exactly as critics predicted. There it is. Okay. Okay, let's find out what our next question is. Which Federal Reserve chairman said we can guarantee cash benefits as far as the eye can see? A Federal Reserve chairman said that? A, Alan Greenspan. B, Ben Bernanke. C, Paul Volcker, or D, Jerome Powell? Okay, I have to admit, I looked ahead. I think I know the answer. I'm not going to say it. So you guys can answer in the poll, in the comments, or in the chat. Let's move right along to our next topic of the evening here. And if you missed any of our earlier stuff, you can always scroll back, or you can wait for us to drop this segment. They will be dropping after the show, so you won't miss anything. And we do this so we can isolate some of these topics and give you an isolated link to send to all your friends so that you can help wake them up and restore America. Okay. Let's find out where we're going here. Jerome Powell, the Federal Reserve Chair, he just made a $2.5 billion mistake. While Americans struggle with 20-year high interest rates, the Fed chair is burning billions on a palace renovation. And Trump's had enough, saying he's a moron. That's what the president said. Too late, Powell. Always too late. Now Trump's economic team has found their smoking gun for removal. Massive waste, economic sabotage, and political games. Remember when Powell slashed rates 50 points right before the election with zero justification? Well, now inflation's at a 4-year low, but he won't budge. The fix was in. The Federal Reserve thinks it's untouchable, above the presidency, beyond accountability. Well, they're about to learn different. Trump is setting the stage to do what no president has dared: fire the Fed chair. And the countdown has begun. While Powell destroys your purchasing power with reckless monetary policy, smart Americans are teaching their kids the truth about economics. The Tuttle Twins magazine explains what the Fed doesn't want you to know: how money printing creates inflation, why central banking hurts families, and why real free markets, what they look like. Their monthly magazine breaks down complex economic concepts through engaging comments and activities kids actually enjoy. Our subscription, we just got our new one in the mail. I love it. And while schools push modern monetary theory nonsense, give your children real fiscal literacy. Subscribe for it's only pennies for a whole year, $56. That's it. I mean, those dollars are going to plant seeds in your grandkids, your nieces, your nephews, your children, in their minds that are going to bear fruit. They're going to sprout trees of liberty for their entire lives. TuttleTwins.com/next. That's less than $5 a month to ensure your kids understand money better than the Fed chair himself. TuttleTwins.com/next. Make it happen. All right, so just finding this out. Steve Gruber posting this 10 hours ago that Trump certainly can fire the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, if there is cause. And yes, I believe we have found the cause. The Trump administration has zeroed in on the Fed's $2.5 billion renovation project as possible cause for removing Powell. Now, last week we told you that there was a letter that was issued from the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac people stating that Powell is going to resign. Well, maybe he'll resign to save face rather than hear President Trump go, "You're fired," right? That's what we all want to hear. But let's listen in what's going on here.
Well, the Fed chair, the administration's been highly about Jerome Powell, the Fed chair. The administration's been highly critical of the way the Fed has handled renovations to its building, to its headquarters here in Washington. $2.5 billion renovation sounds like a lot to me, I have to admit. Yeah. But let me ask you, could this be used as a predicate to fire the Fed chair?
I think that whether the president decides to push down that road or not is going to depend a lot on the answers that we get to the questions that Russ Vought sent to the Fed. The bottom line is that this is the most expensive project in D.C. history, $2.5 billion with a $700 billion cost overrun. To put that in perspective, the cost overrun for this Federal Reserve project is about the same size as the second biggest building overhaul in American history, which was the FBI. And so the Fed has a lot to answer for. And the bottom line is that the key statutory problem in 1913, when we founded the Fed, the U.S. was under a gold standard. So it was never envisioned by the people that voted for the construction of the Fed that we currently see, that the Fed could print money and toss it around willy-nilly, because they had to have the gold to do what they're doing. And they're unbounded right now.
Right, literally print the money to do the renovation. Very quickly, yes or no answer. Does the president, in your view, have the authority to fire the Fed chair?
That's a thing that's being looked into, but certainly if there's cause, he does.
Okay, thank you very much, Kevin Hassett. Really appreciate it.
Certainly if there's cause, he does. Oh, my friends, and there is cause. Okay, let's find out. Let's get a little bit more. Let's get a little bit deeper here. Fed Chair James Fishback, 21 hours ago at the Student Action Summit. Fed Chair Jerome Powell is a traitor. That's the only way to put it.
Fascinating stat. So Jerome Powell he's a Trump hater. That's just the only way to put it. He's an absolute Trump hater. Not just him, but the entire organization, Bo, is infected with Trump derangement syndrome. Here's a fascinating stat. In the 2020 election, for every dollar Fed employees donated, 97 cents went to Democratic candidates or causes. For every one Republican economist at the Fed, there are 10 Democrat economists. The entire institution is being overtaken by progressives who are just being dishonest about the president's agenda. One way to look at this is Powell gave a speech in April in Chicago, and he rightly highlighted there are 4 elements to the president's economic agenda: trade, fiscal, deregulatory, and energy. Powell proceeded to only talk about one of them, which is trade. And so forget how he feels about Trump for a moment.
is, in a dishonest way, cherry-picking the president's agenda, only focusing on tariffs and panicking over the inflation impact they've yet to have, they won't have, but he thinks they'll have. And as a result, he's keeping rates near 20-year highs. Now, why do we care about that as Americans? Because if you're a family and you want to start a family or grow your family, you can't do that if you can't buy a home. You can't buy a home because mortgage rates are at 7%. Mortgage rates are at 7% because Powell can't get off his high horse, look at the economic data that there is and say, wait, if inflation's at a 4-year low, we've had 3 back-to-back-to-back better than expected, lower than expected inflation readings. Why can't we lower rates again? Why exactly? When you lowered them right before the election by 50 points to help Kamala Harris, but you won't do them now even though inflation's lower. None of it makes sense. The president is right to be frustrated. So Jerome Powell...
Oh, without question. Let's see what the president had to say.
The Fed. $1 billion rebuilding the Fed, the Federal Reserve building. And I don't know what he knows about building, but you talk about cost overrun. So he got this approved, and he started the work during the Biden administration. And he doesn't look like the kind of a guy, frankly, that wants to spend $2.5 billion. And it's very interesting because out of 71 economists, one person, me, and then one other person, I think from Wharton, got it right. And the others are all wrong in terms of the success of our country this quickly. We have no inflation. We have cash pouring in. It was me and somebody else. Then I can tell you, I don't need 5,000 people working for me behind the scenes like Jerome Powell to tell him what he should say once a month. Because they got it wrong. The Fed got it wrong. I call him too late. He's always too late. Every point cost us $360 billion. Think of that. And we should be 3 points. That's almost $1 trillion. Approximately $1 trillion less we should be just with the signing of a piece of paper. So we'll see what happens. I mean, you're telling me he's going to quit. I hope he quits. I don't think he's going to quit, but he should quit.
He should quit, or maybe he should just get fired. Fire him, Trump. Here we have National Economic Advisor, National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett talking about the Federal Reserve when it was created.
Out of build. The bottom line is, from my perspective, that when the Federal Reserve was created, we were under a gold standard. And the idea that the Fed could print money and then spend $2.5 billion on a building without real congressional oversight, it didn't occur to the people that framed the Federal Reserve Act. And so I think that we've got a real problem of oversight and excess spending. And to put it in perspective, the cost overrun right now is $700 billion. The second biggest renovation of a building that we've ever had in D.C. was the Federal Reserve building. I mean, the FBI building. The FBI building, the whole thing cost about the same as this cost overrun at the Fed. And so I think that we definitely need to rethink the way the Fed's acting. We 100% want independent monetary policy, but it sure looks like they need more congressional oversight on things like the way they build their buildings.
How about just end the Fed? Can we just do that? How about that? Here's more from James Fishback. Trump read about Powell. Inflation has hit a 4-year low and is heading even lower. So why is Jerome Powell too late, keeping interest rates near 20-year highs?
Deregulation policy. Inflation's at a 4-year low. As you heard Jay Powell say yesterday, there were 3 consecutive back-to-back-to-back better than expected inflation readings. And let's not forget President Trump's fiscal policy, energy policy, and deregulation policy all point to continued lower inflation. And so ultimately, the question has to be asked, why is too late making too many excuses? Why is he keeping rates this high when the economic fundamentals do not call for it?
It's because he's politicizing it. Here's President Trump on Air Force One a little while ago.
No inflation. Our country's strong. Our interest rate should be 3 points lower. If our interest rate was 3 points lower, that's almost $1 trillion in cost. And it's done just by the signing of a pen. But we have a moron at the head of the Fed. He's a moron.
Speaking of Jay Powell, do you have a top choice?
I do. I have 2 or 3 top choices, actually. No. You almost got me there.
How about can we put Ron Paul at the head of the Fed? That's what I'd like to see. Okay, so Citizens Free Press posted this 5 hours ago. Maria Bartiromo. Outstanding opening question. about the next chairman of the Federal Reserve.
The J. Powell.
Joining me now in this Sunday Morning Futures exclusive is Kevin Warsh, who served as a member of the Federal Reserve Board of Governors from 2006 to 2011. It's great to see you, Kevin.
Great to be with you, Maria.
Thank you so much for being here. You know, President Trump has been trying to get Jay Powell to cut rates for a long time. We all know what we're talking about. $36+ trillion in debt. $9 trillion in debt that is turning over this year. Wouldn't it be part of the Fed's thinking to say, okay, we're spending more money on interest just to hold that debt than we do on defense spending? I understand the Fed has a mandate, but should you become the chairman of the Fed, is this something that you would be thinking about in terms of lowering rates being a positive for the president dealing with the nation's debt?
So the president's right to be frustrated with the J. Powell and the Federal Reserve. Inflation comes when the government spends too much. That's the spending you're talking about, and prints too much. The government's done just that thing over the last 4 or 5 years. The government needs to put its fiscal house in order and its monetary house in order. The president took a good shot at putting the fiscal house in order through this tax bill. We're going to grow a lot more than the Congressional Budget Office says. The U.S. is on the cusp of, I think, a radical improvement in our productive capacity. The tax bill is part of it. Deregulatory policy is part of it. Spend reductions are part of it. And the Fed needs to get on board.
I mean, look, President Trump is doing his part. I mean, a lot of hysteria over his tariffs, and yet look what just happened. The tariffs actually brought in $27 billion for the month, customs duties. You're talking about $100 billion on an annualized basis for tariffs, and we have a budget surplus for the month of June. Should the Federal Reserve be cutting interest rates right now?
So in a word, yes. Maria, it's quite simple. Why is it that money and financial conditions are so loose on Wall Street and considerably tighter on Main Street? Because the Fed has the policy mix exactly wrong. It has a big balance sheet like we're in the 2008 crisis or the 2020 pandemic, and has rates that are too high. It needs to shrink the Fed balance sheet and cut interest rates. In so doing, Main Street can get a much lower cost of credit. First-time home buyers can find their way into houses, and the policy mix would be right. I don't know if I'm just saying that because I grew up 200 miles from here in a sort of place far from the bright lights in big city. But Main Street needs to get its break, and it's high time they do it, and the Fed can be part of that.
Now,
let's go. Time to fire that guy, Jerome Powell. Fire him on his ass. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So what it is, it's economic warfare against the American people, and Powell's the general leading the charge. He tanks the economy with high rates while blowing billions on Federal Reserve palace renovations. He cuts rates to influence elections and claims he can't cut them now when we actually need it. James Fishback nailed it. Powell hates Trump, and that's it. But here's what changes everything. Trump found the constitutional leverage. That $2.5 billion boondoggle isn't just waste, it's cause for removal. When the Fed was created under the gold standard, they couldn't just print money for marble lobbies. Now they act like monetary kings, untouchable and unaccountable. Trump's message is clear. Your reign is over. The Federal Reserve will answer to the American people, or its chairman will answer to unemployment. Powell's playing chicken with the wrong president. So here's my question. Should Trump just fire Powell immediately or wait for more economic damage to build the case? Answer below. And grab your next news gear in our merch shop, Alligator Alcatraz, President Autopen, and you can select from any member of the administration in our American Badass series and show your support for America First policies and trigger a liberal at the same time by going to shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. You'll find it linked down below. Okay, we don't have any super chats to speak of at the moment. But I do want to I want to find out the answer. Oh, no, I know the answer. What am I talking about? I do know the answer. I looked ahead. Yes, I did. Sorry, I cheated. You guys got it right, though. It was, in fact, Alan Greenspan. I know. I looked ahead. I'm sorry.
How dare you?
Sorry, Greta. I apologize, Greta. Please.
How dare you?
Okay. Please take it easy. All right. We've had a great show today, guys, and I want to check on some of the latest in the news cycle real quick here. But I do have I got a lot more work ahead of me this evening. My work is never done. Let's see. This is funny. This is funny. Spill the memes. Gotta love spill the memes. Me to my kids, my wife just needs some time to herself. Come with me if you want to live. I know that all too well. Sorry, G. I love you, though. Okay, let's see. What is this? Thank God my car comes with hot dog holders. That's funny. Heaven has strict immigration policies. Hell has open borders. That's true. Yeah. Here's a nice, funny, fake tweet. Release the Epstein files. Honey, WTF, Bill. Let's see. 80s were wild. They're helpful advice. Retards are good neighbors, too. What?
The neighbors. Today, being retarded means leading a full life. Retarded people go to work or school, just like their neighbors, and come back to a real home. A supervised home, right in the neighborhood, where they belong. Being retarded never stopped anyone from being a good neighbor.
What? Was that real? What? And now the retards are your Democrat neighbors. What's this? 26 minutes ago, Representative Ro Khanna, Democrat, I introduced an amendment demanding the full release of the Epstein file. Every member of Congress tomorrow should be forced to vote on this amendment. Holy cow.
Of every member. Mr. Speaker, I introduced today an amendment demanding the full release of the Epstein files. The Speaker's Rules Committee should demand a vote tomorrow of every member of Congress. Yes, we should release it, or no, we should not. This is a question of whose side are you on? Are you on the side of protecting the rich and the powerful who've put their thumb on the scales of government to suck out millions of dollars while working class Americans suffer? Or are you on the side of the people? The Attorney General said on her desk was the Epstein file. And now she's saying, no, nothing to see, don't release it. This is a question of trust. We need to release the Epstein files so we can restore government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And every member of Congress tomorrow should be forced to vote on this amendment.
Wow. Democrat Representative Ro Khanna demanding the full release of the files. Wow. What's this? Employers who hire illegals are finally being arrested for breaking the law. Owners of Arizona's El Taco Loco was taken into custody for employing illegals. Uh-oh.
It's a bust in good. It's rather unusual for El Taco Loco, a taco shop near 67th Avenue and Indian School, to have their doors locked on the outside and an empty dining room on the inside. The West Valley Taco joint also operates a bus in Goodyear and a food truck in Southwest Phoenix. Here at 55th Avenue and Baseline is where El Taco Loco's food truck typically stands. People in this area tell us this has really been a food truck staple of the South Phoenix area. People believe it may have been seized yesterday as part of a federal investigation, and because of that, it is not here today.
Well, guess we're going to have to learn how to make our own tacos, right? So, Patriots, what a show we've had. We start with Matt Gaetz getting yanked to D.C. for the most explosive special prosecutor appointment in history. And the Epstein files aren't just dividing MAGA, they're exposing a system of blackmail and control that goes to the very top. If Trump unleashes Gaetz with full prosecutorial powers, we're not just getting names, we're getting justice. And then we expose the Autopen scandal, the biggest constitutional fraud in American history. Biden's staff was literally running the country with a rubber stamp while he slept. This part is for Fauci, Milley, and the 6th committee, signed by a machine at 10:30 at night. Legal experts say they're void. No protection, no immunity, no escape from accountability. The puppet presidency just got its strings cut. We showed you how the immigration crisis has reached terminal velocity. Chicago schools bankrupt, hundreds of teachers fired. Why? To pay for illegals. ICE raiding trafficking operations, rescuing children from forced labor camps. Well, Democrats call them villains. Even Mark Cuban admitting it's time to support deportations. Tom Homan, though, saying it best, politicians don't have the guts to defend America. And Trump reshaping the world order from the Oval Office. NATO pays, America profits. Putin getting 50 days or facing economic destruction. Iran finally understands that we're not bluffing after 22 years of empty threats. And Obama, apparently under federal criminal investigation for spying on Trump's campaign. That's according to a congressional candidate going for the Espionage Act. Apparently the grand jury is meeting. Justice delayed, but not denied. And Powell, too late, Powell. His days are numbered. That $2.5 billion Fed palace while Americans suffer under crushing interest rates. That's not just bad policy. It's cause for removal. Trump's got the constitutional ammunition, and he's loading the chamber. So to everyone who sent in super chats tonight, Tom B420 with a last-minute $5 drop. Thank you, sir. Put that in the jar. Jody, Curio, R. Boyd, Alex, Irving, Jeff, all you guys. You're the heartbeat of the show, and your support and your passion, your refusal to accept the lies, that's what keeps us going. Every dollar, every share, every comment, every thumbs up, it all matters in this information war. So tell a friend about the raw feed. Text them the link right now. The algorithm cannot stop person-to-person sharing. Check out our merch shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Wear your defiance proudly with our alligator Alcatraz and American badass gear. This is not just news. It's a revolution of truth against an empire of lies. They thought they could fake the signatures, the fake pardons, and fake presidency. They thought they could bankrupt our schools and poison our economy and sell out our sovereignty. Well, they thought wrong. The American people are awake, and we are angry. The reckoning is not coming. It is here. Every scandal we expose, every lie we shatter, every truth we reveal brings us closer to reclaiming our republic. So thank you for joining the Raw Feed. Keep fighting, keep sharing, keep believing. We'll see you next time, Patriots. The truth will not be silenced. I'm Gary Franchi, signing off.